In progress.
So we'll call the meeting to order. I'm Brian Shoup, I'm chair of the select board. Maybe since there's some folks here I don't recognize, we should go around and introduce ourselves.
Thank you, Frank.
Dave Babbitt-Klein on the select board.
Fred Messer, select board member.
Oh, Josh Curtis, select board.
I thought you
They were going that way.
No, we'll let folks
I can't tell which way it is either way. So, and I'm Larissa Ersprung. I'm the vice chair.
Yeah.
I'm York Haverkamp, the town administrator.
And we'll just ask folks to introduce yourself if you speak. So are there any additions, removals, or modifications to the agenda? No? Okay. And is there anybody here for the public forum? And the public forum is any comments or any information you'd like to bring to the board's attention regarding an issue that's not on the agenda? Seeing none.
Would you like to add the Brookfield service generator to the
Yes,
agenda?
yes. And the Meadow Road Bridge,
Okay.
right?
Yes,
You have that.
thank you. Yep.
So we're two items to add to the agenda, sorry, and we'll do them after the D&K engineering contract. We have a proposal for some engineering analysis on the Meadow Road Bridge. The proposal exceeded the amount of money that we authorized York to sign off on, so it's coming back to the board. And we have a proposal to fix the generator at the fire station that has not been working for quite a while. So we need to approve that tonight. So we'll do that in that order after the D&K. Next item is liquor license approvals. We have 2 Mad Moose Bar and Grill for outdoor consumption and Fifth Quarter for a second-class license. We typically ask folks to come before the board for the first time they get a license and their first renewal the next year, just to check in to make sure that they are aware of all of the Liquor Control Agency Board regulations and whatnot. Are there folks here from either?
Moose.
Fifth Quarter. Great, so you guys have gotten your liquor license, but now you're going for an outdoor approval. And we felt as though our policy is that's a new license, so we ask you to be here. Are there, maybe just, you're gonna use the patio and serve drinks?
Yeah, we would like to use the patio. It's a little cold right now, but it won't be forever.
We didn't think it was urgent.
So yes, we'd like to be able to see guests on the patio.
Which historically, the Den had outdoor seating, I remember, I don't know.
And Bluestone.
Yeah,
And Bluestone,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so you guys are following you made your case that you've done all the training and have all the background information that you need.
Correct, yes. All of our employees are certified to serve alcohol on the premise. And yes, we've been, fire chief has approved us, so everything is sound.
Yeah, you off to a good start?
Yes, yeah, it's been great. It's been a great few weeks.
Great. Any questions for?
I had a clarifying question. So maybe I misunderstood when this was initially introduced. Are you not planning to serve on the porch in the winter then? Because I heard something about heaters and trying to sort of enclose it and things of that nature, and that may have been completely inaccurate. So I just wanted to ask about that because I mean, there's sort of a fire component to that.
Absolutely. We would like to, but heat is still being installed. That is still an ongoing process, and I'm not sure if it will be completed or how long it will take to complete. That still may be a month or so in. But we would like to be able to see on the patio year round is our goal. Once there is some heat, or the weather is warmer, whichever one comes first.
Right.
Does that raise any specific concerns, Larissa? You mentioned.
No, I just that if there's, patio heaters I don't know what the heating system is. It's just a matter of whether or not there's, and I'm sure that there has been conversation with the various powers that are involving fire safety and things of that nature, and if there are any concerns about sort of adding that as an additional feature to the property.
The fire chief has instructed us of the guidelines that we have to follow, and how far apart everything has to be, how many feet away from walls and tables, and all of the guidelines. So those guidelines are being followed, and will be adhered to during the installation process of getting heat out there.
Right. That was all that I had specifically, is just sort of that had been addressed. So I'm all set, and I'm sorry I need to step away for 1 second. I will still be listening.
And just for, so you guys know, we used to get copies of your applications, so we'd have some information, but now that it's an online application process, we don't see it. We just know that you've requested a
Gotcha,
permit
okay.
from the state. What is the change at fifth quarter? It's not a change, actually, is it? You're just.
It's just a renewal. So we were previously the Mad River Taste Place. That
Yes.
license was held by Robin Morris. Fifth Quarter took over the premises in January 1st of last year. Because it's a change in ownership, they don't allow for the transfer of license, so we reapplied. We came before the board last January for our preliminary approval. We just are looking for our renewal. This is our first one.
How's everything going?
It's been great, yeah. We've really had a wonderful year. We've been doing regular tastings on Saturdays. We apply for permits with the state every weekend when we do that. I've had no issues whatsoever. We maintain training with all of our staff so that anyone checking anyone out for licenses, checking anyone out for alcohol are licensed to do so. Additionally, we have server training for anyone running our tastings.
Any questions for
For me.
motion to approve both licenses?
Make that motion?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hey,
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
thanks for coming in. And if you guys haven't checked out the new setup at fifth quarter, it's pretty great. So it looks really awesome, Josh.
Thanks, Larissa. I appreciate it. We look forward to having you back in soon.
All right, so we'll move on. Brian, you want to come up to the table? Sure. Next item is floodplain restoration and funding proposal. Brian Boyce with the Central Vermont Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah, thanks for making time on your agenda. So towards the end of last year, we wrapped up a project development effort looking at some properties that were identified through the local hazard mitigation planning process as potential sites for floodplain reconnection. So we ended up evaluating 4 municipal properties and 1 privately held property. The 2 best options were the Lower Fairgrounds parcel and the project on the private property, which we don't need to discuss since it's not really up to the town what the private landowner does there. The Lower Fairgrounds parcel turned out to be a good opportunity for reestablishing a connection to the floodplain in that area. So it's about a 9.5 acre site that we would like to move on to preliminary engineering design for. So what we have now, and if you got that far into your packet, saw the final report from our project development effort, it's basically a back of the envelope design and some fairly preliminary calculations. The funding for a preliminary design for this project would come through the formula grant program. So we are the clean water service provider for the Winooski River Basin. There's no match requirement for this funding, but funding decisions really are based on a cost efficiency metric that looks at how much money we would have to spend per kilogram of phosphorus for overall project implementation. So still lots to discover out here, potential challenges related to archaeological work. Never a good sign when the state archaeologist says this looks like a particularly challenging site. For non-challenging sites, that's a $15,000 project. For a challenging site with no direct access, I don't know what that means. So again, this is there's potential that just that aspect of the work might make the overall project cost prohibitive. So at this point, we're just asking for support from the select board to move forward on a proposal to get funding for a 30% engineering design where we can get some better answers on what would be required out of the archaeological work. Does the phosphorus reduction estimate currently roughly about 50 kilograms? If we were to implement this project, is that going to hold? Is the price going to hold? What are we going to do with any of the sediment that we scrape off the top of that parcel? So there's a lot of balls in the air about whether or not this will ultimately prove to be a cost-efficient project, but as it stands, my recommendation would be to move forward at least with a 30% design, see what kind of flood relief benefit this project might provide, and again, ensure that that phosphorus reduction estimate and cost estimate holds so that we can fully fund the project through implementation with hopefully no match from the town, although certainly a little back and forth with municipal staff and ongoing dialogue with the Conservation Commission, the Planning Commission, and the Select Board.
How involved has the Conservation Commission been?
They've been pretty involved. I met with them 2 weeks ago, whenever their last meeting was, which I believe was 2 weeks ago, and talked to them about this project. Kurt Lindberg did all the site visits with us when we went out with the engineer the first time. So they have been they've been involved more so than the Planning Commission, although Alice has been involved as a member of both the Planning Commission and she's also a member of our Basin Water Quality Council at CBRPC.
Because one question I have, and I'm fine with moving ahead with more analysis and better understanding of the site, is that the Conservation Commission, is doing a master plan for the property. And I'm just wondering if they're going to determine whether it's a good ag use, or we have the farmer who has been farming it is here and has been given permission to continue farming it for mainly, just in part for invasive control, because if it's not farmed, but I'm not sure what the long-term use of the property is. I guess this will feed into their decision about what the management plan would look like.
I mean, I can't say what they are planning for the management plan itself, but when we met 2 weeks ago, they were supportive of moving forward with a 30% design.
Okay. Any questions?
I guess so this is just to support moving forward with the analysis and doesn't commit to anything besides
Besides that,
hearing back.
correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, the way that water quality restoration projects work, not really all that different than the wastewater project. You get some project development, get some ideas generated, 30% design, final design, and implementation. So this would be the 30% design phase where we really start to pencil out the costs and make sure that it's cost efficient and affordable, then be able to come back to the Select Board, Conservation Commission, and others and talk about, this is what the project would look like, and does the town want to move forward with this for a final design? And ideally, if we're going to move forward to final design, it's because the town is committed to implementation. But for preliminary design, I'm not looking for that level of commitment from you at this time.
But it will quantify flood retention benefits?
Correct. Yeah, that would be part of that analysis. Yep.
Yeah.
And if it does move forward to implementation, does that preclude Hadley's grazing on the site? How would that work?
It depends on what the easement looks like. And so I will just take a quick step back and say that if this project were to be funded all the way through implementation, it would be the largest in terms of cost project funded by this state program. What I did hear back from the basin planner after the project development effort was, DEC is going to want to talk to you about an easement for this property. So again, I know there's lots of questions out here. I'm sure Hadley probably has questions as well. I don't have answers at this time. But that's what the 30% design would do. And so like one of the considerations would be if there's ongoing ag use on the property after the project is implemented, does that change the phosphorus reduction benefit? If it does, it would reduce it, it wouldn't increase it. And if it reduces it, does it reduce it to the point where the project is no longer cost efficient? So if the town says we want to prioritize both flood mitigation and agricultural use, that's fine, but those might not be compatible with the funding program.
Well, it might depend on what kind of agricultural use too.
It might, but basically taking out the phosphorus reduction credit will change if you take it out of ag use versus only partially take it out of ag use versus still allow agricultural use.
And will that be addressed in this analysis?
Yes.
Great.
Yep. Yeah, and so, you know, what I'd like ideally is to get your support for a 30% design, generate that information about the project. It's a fairly big project, as I mentioned. I would imagine that it might even call for a full public meeting, not just a meeting with the select board at some point to talk about what could happen out there if the town were in favor of supporting a project over the long term.
Well, I think that the timing's good because the Conservation Commission is gonna be doing public outreach on the whole property, minus the fairgrounds, I think.
That's right.
The whole lower property, you mean?
The whole lower and upper property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're doing a management plan for the whole thing. They're not, we're basically, I think it's an opportunity to ask questions about the fairgrounds, but they've decided that that's kind of in the select board's wheelhouse for now to figure out what the long-term use might be.
Hadley, sorry, we interrupted
Sorry, your
your
hand.
question coming.
I'm not sure what this project is all about. I'm confused a little here.
So right now, except for in cases of extreme high water, water's not able to access that floodplain area. And so the idea would be to reduce basically to excavate sediment, lower the profile of the site, and so under heavy flow conditions, allow water to access the property to reduce downstream flood impacts.
Seriously?
I mean, I wish I could make up stories that good.
That doesn't even make sense.
No?
You wanna cut the plane of that field so that water can go in there?
So that there's more room for the water to spread out during a flood event, yes.
Holy smokes.
But it would only
It's the
happen
same-
during high waters, is correct?
I mean, you know, I've only been here 20-ish years. I feel like I've only seen the water up in there a couple of times, and maybe just Irene. But again, this is the work that the engineer will do with a hydrologic model to make sure that the suspicions are confirmed, that water's not accessing that on a regular basis. And yeah, I mean, this is the same basic concept that the town of Waterbury is talking about for the Randall Meadows behind the state office complex. That one's on a much larger scale, 40-ish acres. But again, the idea is to provide some downstream flood relief by giving the water more space to spread out under heavy flows.
And so in the Waterbury example, they're trying to avoid having those side streets off of Main Street flood during.
Yep, Randall
these
Street.
months,
Randall
yeah.
Street.
By giving it more room to spread out in those areas that they're looking at, right?
Yep.
And so the same sort of thing applies here, but,
I mean, really would be hopefully alleviating pressure on infrastructure, like the covered bridge and or any of our downstream bridges.
So are you talking moving the topsoil, taking out something underneath the topsoil? So that you can lower the elevation of the field and then putting the topsoil back on? So that you can have some kind of grass growing there? You're gonna hit gravel or something.
Again, I mean, this is all work that needs to be fleshed out by the engineer. I agree, you're gonna hit gravel at some point, you're probably gonna hit gravel at multiple points, because there has been deposition there in the past after flood events.
I don't know what to say here.
Well, nothing's gonna change right away. There's gonna be another opportunity to look at what the engineer thinks are the phosphorus reduction, flood retention, and ongoing use of the property. So we can have that discussion with a little bit more information.
And phosphorus reduction is about what?
It's about the state being under a mandate from the EPA to reduce phosphorus in the Lake Champlain Basin.
And phosphorus, thinking coming from agricultural use.
Phosphorus coming from every kind of use, not just agriculture.
Does anybody really know how to reduce phosphorus?
I can put you in touch with plenty of people at DEC that think they do.
We are
Department of
under,
Environmental Conservation.
we're under permits from the state to reduce phosphorus from our road runoff and manage our ditches differently to do that. So it's hitting all
I mean, that's
sectors.
That's a required phosphorus reduction. This is a completely voluntary project. And so, you know, at some point it'll come down to what are the town's priorities for the property, and does phosphorus reduction and flood mitigation outweigh the benefits of other potential uses?
Do you know what the immediate use for this land is and for the next year?
You're guessing?
Anybody?
I think the Conservation Commission's recommendation has been to allow you to hay it.
Okay, but
You- you and
got
the
a
goats.
project going on.
You
down
and the
there.
goats.
Huh?
And the goats.
So I haven't hated in a few years because there's a goat project going on.
Well, you did, you hayed part of it.
Okay. Couple strips around there till I got flagged down,
No.
told I couldn't do it.
Are we talking about up on top or?
No,
No,
this is the fun part.
That's what I thought.
I mean, I would say
You were told that you
the,
couldn't hay?
Yeah,
By the
because the
goat
goats
owners?
needed the grass instead of the knotweed.
No, we,
They needed the grass so that they could supplement their knotweed activity.
Well, that's another issue
Okay.
that we need to kind of, and you and I have talked about this several times, and I have not done a great job of following through. We've also got the Tardy property, the fairgrounds parcel, that it would be good to have a relation, you know, have a lease agreement, so Hadley knows what he can expect. We've talked about fencing on the site, and we've talked about this as a board. He's raised the concern that if there's not a long-term commitment to allow him to do some farming on the fairgrounds, there's not a reason to put money into fencing. The Conservation Commission thinks they found funding source for fencing. I don't think that's an issue down below where you've been haying it. But I think this really drives home the point that you and the Conservation Commission and the Select Board need to come to kind of an agreement, understanding of what's
What can and what cannot.
yeah, and we've said that we need to do that, and I thought that was in process for the Conservation Commission, so we need to do that before spring.
Okay, that sounds good.
And as far as this goes, I'm fine going ahead with analysis. I wouldn't commit to doing any specific project
Yeah.
without a lot more information.
Has, quick question, is the deposition that's kind of raised the level of that floodplain so it's not functioning, is that all natural deposition or man-made, or do we know?
I don't know. I was actually looking at some aerial photos today, and unfortunately the oldest of those photos, they had not scanned yet. So the oldest photo I looked at, I think, was from the 1940s maybe, and there was certainly, that land was there, but it doesn't provide an elevation profile, so I don't know how, if or how much taller it might be now, or higher it might be now than it was 75 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gonna lower it or raise it?
Lower.
No, the other way.
So the water can get
That's the
there?
fairgrounds,
Yeah,
that field.
okay, got it. Sorry.
Does anybody know what the water does to it when it goes across that land right now?
Deposits, not weed.
It's a lot more.
Well, that's kind of why I was asking, was it natural or man-made? If the river and accessing it is kind of dumping material there, it would be a matter of time, maybe a long time, before it loses its functionality again, right?
Yep.
But if that's,
But if that's the
100
difference
years,
between
it's worth
the
it.
loss of all 3 of the town bridges
Yeah.
on the Mad River and not, it's probably, you
Yeah.
know, worth considering.
mm-hmm, I agree.
Yeah, I think when we, when we met with A&R just above the covered bridge this spring, and he basically was like, the moment you put this covered bridge in here, you created, you know, responsibility.
Yeah.
And this is a good example. Like if the bridges weren't there, then the river would find other ways, but we're kind of stuck with selected ways to accommodate the flooding, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is there any linkage between the kind of wetlands mitigation effort in this project, potentially, like around the Irisville, potential Irisville redevelopment, where we're looking for wetlands mitigation opportunities and this parcel?
I don't think so. I mean, are you
They're
talking about
obviously not
using the parcel
connected,
as a mitigation site to construct
Potentially.
wetlands?
Yeah, I mean, no, just whether the restoration of that floodplain would count as an offset or...
I don't think it would.
Mhm.
I don't work in wetlands permitting, but
Me either.
I don't think you can offset wetland filling with a non-wetlands project.
You would have to, technically, and it's not easy to do, you would have to create some of the values that are getting lost from the loss of other wetlands to replace it. If those values are water quality, habitat, you would need to be able to replace those values on the site. And then that's just all I know.
Yeah.
I can't go further than that.
That's about
It's more than me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I look forward to getting more information. So what do we?
So we want to give them the go-ahead? Yeah. So motion?
So there's no financial,
No financial.
Nope, other than, you know, maybe some staff time. I might need to call up York and have a conversation with them. Obviously, we'll come back to
he has
the-
all sorts of staff time.
Oh, I'm sure he doesn't have anything to do, so, but
Okay.
yeah, other than that, you know, interfacing with the Conservation Commission, the Planning Commission, and you all.
Marissa, did you have something?
No, I was just laughing when he said that York has nothing to do.
I had tons of time.
So there'll be more opportunities to discuss this with better information.
Yeah, I mean, you know, basically, if you give me the go-ahead tonight, I will submit a proposal during the next funding round for the Basin Water Quality Council later this month. And assuming that they approve the project, then I will write a contract with Watershed Consulting, who did the project development work with us, and they'll be the group that's tasked with the 30% design. And, you know, there may be a need to meet during the design process to talk about what they've figured out. And definitely will be a request for me to meet, you know, at the conclusion of the project so we can talk about whether it's got legs beyond the 30% design.
Make a motion to support you going forward with your proposal to the Basin Water Quality Council.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks all. I'll let you know
Thank
how
you.
the funding proposal goes.
Thanks, Brian.
As a quick side note before we move on, I wanted to make sure that in the work plan, if we have sort of a deadline of needing to get Bradley and the Conservation Commission and the Select Board all on the same page, that we've updated the deadline in the work plan to reflect that we need to really get on that
Yeah.
before spring. Please and thank you.
So the next item is local agricultural tax stabilization agreement discussion. For some background, for several years, for as many years as I think I remember going to town meeting, every 3 years the voters were asked to authorize tax stabilization agreements to lower taxes on agricultural land that was being farmed. Last year, as folks remember, we didn't have York or anybody else. We did the budget, and it just slipped everybody's mind that there was a 3-year renewal process coming up, so it was never discussed by the select board. As I said, I know this program has been in effect for a while. 2 properties have been enrolled in it as long as I know. I don't think there's been more than that for many years. Just for some background, I'm reading an email after last year's town meeting, and this was brought to the attention that I had with with Spencer Potter, the listers, just to get a handle on what we didn't do and what the implications are. The 2 properties are Bodwin and the estate of Warren Ketchum. Bodwin is up north of Hadley's property. There's a property that's got a hillside. It's kind of the other side of the hill from you, right? Your house?
It's behind my house.
Yeah, and there's several years ago, some fruit trees were planted on the upper terrace, and then there's a floodplain down below it. And I believe there's a house that last year was under construction, which is tucked around behind the,
Yeah, you can't
see
see
it
it
from
from Route
Route
100, but there is a house there.
and then the other property, the Ketchum property, there's a house and barn down by the Munn property. Was a airstrip there at one time. And what the agreement did is the Bodwin property was assessed at $669,700. The agriculture agreement reduced that, exempted $137,830 of that taxes. I'm gonna get into what that means in a minute. The other property, the Ketchum property, was $595,900, and the agreement knocked off $106,000 of that. How that works is the municipal tax rate, it lowers our grand list. So that tax is, there's a lower grand list, so everybody else's goes up a little bit of a fraction. The school tax is the does not lower the grand list for the school tax, so we still have to make that payment as taxpayers to the school. And this is a program, Fred, maybe you know about it, because it's been around for a while, eh?
Which one, our program?
No, the local program.
The local program precedes the state's
Current use.
current use program. And that's why we as a town initiated, was to give the farmers a break on property taxes.
So I have been in communication with the, some of the property owners. So anyhow, other information, Hadley farms the Ketchum property, and Dave Hartshorn farms the Bodwin property. I'm assuming you guys are here for.
Yes, we are here for Ketchum property, yes.
Okay. Do you want to, I guess
we're wondering, why can't we go through this again? And we're surprised that we had to come here again to apply for the agricultural stabilization tax. Tax stabilization, every 3 years, it seems like it's been renewed, and this has been in the program for 30, 40 years.
Yeah, and I did have one thing that I remember when I communicated with
Priscilla.
Priscilla, I thought so. Have you looked in, one of the reasons we did it was that it wasn't a state program. In the state program, the current use program, which allows you to enroll in current use if you have property that's farmed by a farmer, that's a reimbursement program to the town. So we budgeted $135,000 last year. That came back to us because of the reduced property tax. And I'm wondering, it seems to be a better deal for the landowner, as far as I'm aware. Have you looked into that as an alternative?
Well, we have looked at it for a few seconds and we decided against it. We don't like the restrictions that the current use put on the property, and we just assumed to apply for the agricultural tax stabilization.
What are your criticisms about the program?
Well, the restrictions is you can't subdivide it,
Yep.
one thing. You can't subdivide the property, and then it's restricted.
You know,
Unless you reimburse.
Yeah,
You pay penalty.
unless you reimburse. But if we have this program, this is a 3-year program, we can get out of it in 3 years. Correct?
Yeah.
That's a 3 years. And I can't see how this is advantageous to us to go with the current use program. I had this discussion with Warren, the Warren Ketchum, and he was adamant about that current use. I asked him if he thought about putting it in current use, and for the same reason, he didn't want to put it in current use.
I think in current use, you can designate areas for, basically carve out areas for development, which may be a mitigating factor, I guess, in the comparison between the two. But it was my understanding too, as Brian said, that the tax savings were actually higher in current use than
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, we'll probably look into it more in the future, but we like to apply for the same program that we have been on for the last 30, 40 years.
Does anybody know how long it takes to, I did it years ago and I can't remember how long it takes to put in your application and be approved for state land use.
For current use,
Yeah.
Current use.
you have to have your application in by, I believe, it's either the 1st of August or the 1st of September.
Yeah.
And
You're
then
in
you-
current use, right? Are you in
Am I?
current, is your property in current use? The farm?
At the moment, it is not.
No.
We got messed with in COVID and they canceled it. We're trying to do some things. We bought a piece of property that was contiguous with that property down there, and we're going to join it with our property. And of course, during COVID, you couldn't get in touch with anybody. We tried, I don't know how many times, through a computer to get the application done, and we weren't successful at all. And in the process, time went by and they kicked us out. So, and I've been trying to apply again, and I'm gonna try to get in there by the 1st of August this coming year. And we've had a forester that actually worked with us very diligently to get involved in the whole program to get it, because you have to have a forest management plan to get it put in place, and even that didn't give us any weight.
So it was the computer system was not recognizing the contiguousness of the properties?
I can't tell you, I'm not a good computer person. I had some of my family members doing this, and they were like, we don't know what's going on. It seemed like it wasn't an easy path to take. I don't know what was going on. I look at.
State websites are not known for being super user-friendly either.
I look at that stuff and I want to take a hammer to it.
Did you have it, were you able to call them up?
Yeah, recently I've been able to talk to them,
Okay, nice.
which doesn't do me any good.
Right.
They're just saying, well, you gotta reapply. And you're out of it for now.
See, I was not even able, and I looked last year and wasn't able to, and I have not even seen what the agreement looks like that used to be signed with the town. And the fact that it can't be subdivided seems to be the reason for the program. And that's one of the benefits of current use, is it reimburses the town and subsidizes the property taxpayer for land that will remain in agriculture or forestry.
Or more or less stay out of development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that one has a 10-year, the current use is a 10-year approval, essentially. You have to update your forest management or agricultural plan every 10 years, so it's a longer Like, once you're in for 10 years.
Well, I think you sign a piece of paper every year to.
Yep, you do a renewal by
Yeah.
November 1st, which is
You're correct.
one click.
Your property in it? Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know, can consider it. I really would like to know what the impact on the taxes would be and what the terms of the agreement would be, and we don't have that information now. And I guess I'm hard pressed to say we have a good state program that's available that is better for Vermont, for Waitsfield taxpayers than the stabilization agreement is. So
I'd sort of like to see our program sunset at some point,
yeah.
but I don't want to hurt anybody in the process.
Yeah, the challenge, to be blunt, for the rest of the town taxpayers is they're essentially picking up the tab. In the current use program,
Yeah.
the state's picking up the tab.
Yeah.
It's not a big tab because there's only a couple properties enrolled, but at some point it feels like that program is naturally sunsetting, just in that the enrollment has dwindled. I don't know what's happening in the rest of the state, if that's, unique to Waitsfield, that it's only 2 left, or if it's happening.
I don't
I
think
find
there's-
that hard to believe.
I don't think there's many local programs anymore. There used to be quite a lot.
No.
Because of
The
no
town,
current use.
Yeah.
the town of Warren have it?
Do they?
I don't know.
I remember when I used land up there, having this property owner involved in it.
We can certainly check.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to know that as well.
I can look into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, one suggestion, given the timing and that, I'm not sure you guys would have time, frankly, to apply and get in current use and get approved and all that stuff now, would be to approve whatever we need to do to renew the 3-year cycle, but with the knowledge that the town would like to sunset that
Well,
program at the end of the
We
3
can
years.
understand if the town sunset it. We understand that.
Right. But
But they
from my
haven't
vantage
sunsetted
point-
it yet, right?
Well, we did in a very sudden and uninformed way, and I have apologized for that.
Well, that's not our fault.
No, I know, right, I know.
And that's exactly where I'm coming from, is I
Yeah.
don't want to leave you guys high and
Yeah.
dry in any way.
Yeah.
I speak for myself, but I'm guessing others
Yeah.
feel the same way.
Same.
Like, it's not fair to you to just say,
Yeah.
Agreed.
we didn't tell you this
You
thing's
wanna-
going away.
So we need to put a warning for town meeting together by the 1st of February. So we can do some more research, but I think we need to make a more informed decision. And I think the sentiment is to sunset the program, but we can look into how that would work in a way that is least painful for the folks who are depending on it.
I assume you haven't heard from Rick Bowden about this either.
Yes, we did,
Oh, you did?
yeah. We got emails from him.
Oh,
I've exchanged emails with him a couple times, and he was in touch with you.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, essentially he would like it to continue.
he would?
He would.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was the essence of his message, if I remember correctly.
Agricultural.
Right?
It's land that is agriculturally
Yeah, taxes there.
available.
Yeah,
Dave Hartshorn actually grows a bunch of corn and
Yeah.
pumpkins on it.
yeah.
It is river bottom, it is floodplain, but there is, maybe the other half of the property is,
Right in back of your house.
yeah, and he just has built a house
Yeah,
on it,
Mhm.
by the apple trees.
behind
Past
the apple trees.
trees.
Yeah, you can't see it. It's
Yeah.
really nice.
Oh, nice.
That's your
It's up
canoe.
high and dry too, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's probably a pretty nice view.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm in the Matterhorn Valley and I can't see all the foolishness. He's hidden.
It's true.
He's got an eastern exposure.
So why don't we try to put it on our agenda in 2 weeks and have more of the information background that we need? Is that?
Check the agreement, check with Warren, check
Yeah.
other towns, and then figure out what
Yeah.
to do to not cause pain.
Yeah, and I really want to know, can you explain how the reduction was agreed upon? Was that given to you by the town, or?
The reduction has been, you're talking about the tax break?
Yes.
That's
We
been,
don't know.
that has been going on for decades.
My father's the one that was in on that, we don't know how it happened.
Because our lister doesn't, our assessor
You probably know.
doesn't know.
I don't know how, I remember when it was initiated, but I don't remember the mechanics of how much it
But
was.
last time
It was a
was
certain
Ken
percentage.
Ketchum
Yeah.
applied for it. That was a few years ago.
Well, no, that was after the would had all been set up.
Yeah, that was like, what's that, 10 years ago?
More.
Yeah, last time was Ken Ketchum applied it and it was agreed and
When did you possibly not get reduced taxes out of it?
it was just last year that we got a call from York that,
believe so.
oh, this fell through the crack. I don't know how it fell through the crack, but, and nobody could do anything about it.
Yeah, it was too
At
late.
that point. And I think Brian said, well, apply it in December. Apply in December and we'll,
Well,
Consider it,
yeah, I said
yeah.
come to the board and we
Yeah.
can talk about, yeah,
and so we tried that.
and here we are.
Yeah,
So we'll do additional research and
okay,
come back in 2 weeks.
so,
Do we need to be here in 2 weeks?
It's up to you, yeah, I mean, it would probably be helpful because we might have some questions about the terms of the agreement in the past and how that's,
well, we have the agreement here that we've had
With Hadley.
with Hadley for, it's 3-year program.
Yeah,
It's
you're
very
required to have a lease with
straightforward.
a farmer, correct? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a straightforward, I can't see.
No, I'm talking about how was the tax deduction determined and what restrictions are placed on the property during that 3-year period?
Just for, we have to pay back, if we sold the property before 3 years,
No.
No. No.
So let's have this discussion in 2 weeks when
Yeah.
we have better information.
Yeah,
Um,
the stabilization agreement.
the
Yeah.
tax collector doesn't have any record of possibly of, how it worked, or? how-
He did not in my email exchanges with him,
Must be record somewhere.
I think. I'm hopeful.
So far back.
I have it penciled in to the January 19th meeting, and
Okay.
there's about 3 or 4 things that I'll look into to have prepared.
And I'll talk to you about, yeah, okay. Okay?
It's a start.
Yeah. So, just watching the time, let's move on to the.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
Thank you for
Yeah.
coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Heather.
Priscilla, our elevator works.
I can walk. I'm just slow.
The D&K Engineering Services contract, we had this on the last agenda, or came in late, and I think the questions were just, where's the wastewater committee? I think folks wanted to hear from Josh.
Are we skipping
I
item
think we
4?
had the local.
Oh,
option
geez, I'm
tax.
sorry, I guess, I don't want to item 4. That was there, thank you.
But I'm glad Josh is
you
here,
wanna come to
because
the
Josh
table?
can help with the ESA also.
You want to come to the table? Sure. Yeah, you can help.
Look at our huge public, it has dwindled. Josh,
I've outlasted everybody.
That's Josh.
So we got a incomplete draft of the white paper specific to Waitsfield in our packet. And my understanding is some of the back and forth has been really trying to get as accurate an estimate as possible. If we did do a lot,
The town's buying a yacht? Oh, my God.
Need a captain?
Strike that.
Let's move on,
the
please.
health officer will be the
Oh, goodness.
Carol, ignore average.
Rewind.
We wanted to make sure we had as accurate an understanding as possible of what the likely impact would be on Waitsfield taxpayers whose sales, rooms and meals, alcohol, might increase if we were to adopt a lot, and that's a work in progress?
Yes.
And maybe what other updates, I guess?
Yeah, we put together a draft and are essentially just working out final numbers and didn't want to rush things to make, we want to make sure that what's being provided makes sense. And there were some assumptions. Essentially, it's just making sure the assumptions are as logical as possible. And the ensuing numbers make sense. So we're close to that being completed, and the draft, which is substantially complete, it's a pretty far along draft, is what was provided for this.
We had tentatively scheduled to have put it on next Monday's agenda, warn it as a hearing, try to encourage folks to come. Is it ready for that, or will it be, or should we push that back a week?
I mean, obviously that's your decision, but from my perspective, I know you're also balancing a handful of things, but I anticipate the draft to be completed by the end of this week. But if there was a hearing, it would make sense that there's probably a little bit more of a run-up time for folks to have access to material, but again.
What do you think, Rihanna?
Yeah, personally, I agree with that the more information we can give to the public in advance of a hearing, the better. So if that memo is done Friday and the meeting's Monday, that's not giving folks a lot of time to kind of find it, digest it, and come to the meeting. So I would advocate we wait another week if that somehow backs us up on a timeline that the committee has been working on and screws us up.
That would give the
reconsider.
Valley Reporter an opportunity to have an article with information in it before the hearing, which would be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, true.
And then it would still leave a week and a half
We don't.
to finish the warning. Or is the ballot need to be finalized later?
No, that's not until like February.
Early February though, right?
Yeah, like early February. Like
Yeah.
if we have a meeting on February 2nd, that would be the meeting that we would approve the warning.
Yeah, well, and the town report draft is due, final is due to the printer February 6th, I believe. So
Yeah.
those all kind of go.
Yeah, actually, the warning may be, is it 30 days? Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
February 7th. So.
Yeah.
Well, city post warnings, that was since February 1st.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything's gonna get tight, but we could.
Yeah,
we
but it's
could do
important to
that.
do it right. And,
Yeah.
So we could recommit to having the full draft in next week's packet, and then the hearing a week after that.
And Josh mentioned a committee, York and Emma from the Planning Commission and Larissa and I have been doing some outreach to businesses just to kind of see what their concerns might be, what their support or opposition. Larissa backed off of that. Dave took her place today to kind of, as we do our outreach. And we are doing outreach with the Chamber of Commerce but I also want, the general public who are gonna be paying the taxes to get informed and be able to weigh in on it.
So are you gonna be talking to the major retailers in town?
We've talked to some of them, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And the interest is to have the public hearing during a select board, a regular select board.
We could have a special meeting. I mean, we've had a lot of meetings in January.
We do.
But depending on how much progress we make on the budget tonight, we might have a couple of long meetings. I think we're feeling pretty good about how the budget's progressing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see tonight.
Yeah.
Can we decide next Monday whether we do a special meeting or have it at the following select board
We
meeting?
could do that. I mean, we don't need to do a 15-day warning, and, I'm sure, if we tentatively say the 19th, we should decide next week whether to do a special meeting.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
I
from
mean,
the-
these,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, these things also aren't mutually exclusive. Like, we can do something in February that's a special meeting once, I mean,
Right.
I realize that there are a lot of deadlines at the beginning of February, but if there's a feeling that there needs to be something that is just dedicated to this topic,
Well,
outside of the scope of a regular select board meeting, that it can be both and rather than either or. as needed.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing, and that I think is consistent with what we did with the wastewater in advance of the wastewater bond vote. There may have been more requirements around the notice for a bond vote, but we had we did have a select board meeting, and then we had a informational community meeting.
Well, I
closer
think,
to the
I think
actual
there's two
vote.
different meetings, though. There's the, let's make sure we have as much information as we can get to decide whether to put it on the ballot. And then
Yeah.
if we do put it on the ballot, make sure that we have a lot of information available to landowners or to voters to know what they're voting on.
Yeah, and I guess I'm advocating that if we do put it on the ballot, we have that
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
informational meeting in February, as
Yeah.
Larissa was saying too.
Yep.
And I support that also with the caveat that I'm not going to be there, so I'm making work for somebody else.
All good.
So,
It's worth it.
okay.
That approach makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I just changed it, pencil it in for the 19th, and next week we can change it.
yeah, that sounds good.
And that's a holiday day, you guys are still meeting on that date?
Right now, it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I believe. I mean, the office will be closed.
I always hated when the select board always met on holidays, Monday holidays, and I always thought that it was unfair to staff, but I'm gonna make an exception this time.
I think we've made a concerted effort to not do that.
It's not
in
unfair to
every
you this
other
time
case.
around.
This is a special time of year.
Just because it's January.
There's a lot of stuff adding
Yeah,
up. That's, as
exactly.
of now, like, that meeting's actually already has 5 things penciled in, which at this point is a lot.
And we're meeting next week, so,
We are.
so, are you okay meeting on Martin Luther King? I am.
I believe
It
so.
won't, I'm fine.
Yep, I
I'll
have
just
it.
call for my villa in Italy. Yeah.
You can have the first cruise on the yacht.
In the Mediterranean.
Oh, well, that's what the yacht's for.
I'll make sure it has Zoom.
I thought the bike share was nice at the General Wayne House, what do you guys have going
Those
on?
acronyms are so great.
What else about the report? Any other significant changes?
No, there really are not significant changes. I mean, the piece that we are dialing in is the resident versus non-resident proportions and estimates. And that's the piece that we're just making sure we have right. There were some initial, the very early drafts, planning district identified some percentages of local versus non-local utilization of different, or essentially impact of the 3 different, or 3/4 different taxes, areas for which the taxes exist, and we received some feedback about them evolving, and that, which created a great conversation and a solid methodology, and we're backing that back into the document.
Also, there were questions about the administrative costs, right?
Yeah, the administrative fee.
There's no burden on the businesses, but there's a cost that the state charges for administration, right?
Yes.
So that comes out of the 75%, not their 25%.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it's a fee that's paid related to, the administrative fee is tied to filing, so it's a filing.
Yeah, so, but in normal filing, that all
Yeah,
businesses.
but the fee is added to the filing, so
Yeah.
my guess is that it impacts the business.
I think it would be super helpful, Josh, if you could provide a little bit of context, since we're in a public
Yeah.
Yeah.
meeting. We're talking about a memo that no one's seen yet.
Yeah, sorry.
Although the bulk of it is in the meeting packet on the website.
It is, yeah.
Okay, good. The draft is excellent. I just think the context would still be helpful, that bridging the gap from the initial work that you and Sam and the
Yep.
planning district did to which is more valley-wide, to this very town-specific.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, sorry, we
Really
drilled
helpful.
Yeah.
right into the detail. But yeah, so the planning district staff this past fall, late summer, started a process of trying to understand what are the opportunities and the potential circumstances for which a local options tax could be made available by the municipalities in the Matterhorn Valley. So there's been some legislative changes that have happened that have changed the sort of application as well as the amount of funding that can be retained by municipalities over the last two legislative sessions. And so the circumstances change, and also recognizing the larger conversation about property tax strain, impact with schools, and are there other revenue streams or opportunities related to municipalities to invest in these increasingly large costs projects, many of which that traditionally had been federal or state funded, and seeing that landscape changing. So are there other ways? And so that's the larger sort of reason why the planning district engaged in this work and doing a valley-wide understanding. And through that, we essentially did some analysis and tried to answer a handful of questions, like what is a local options tax? How many communities are utilizing them? 38 in the state currently. What are they being used for, and what are those mechanisms? As well as trying to identify what is the potential revenue and the potential impact within municipalities. And so we did this as a 3-town initially. And then from that, we're open to having, and had conversations specifically with Waitsfield and Warren. Data in Fayston is very essentially non-existent, separate discussion, but I've continued the dialogue with both Waitsfield and Warren. And from that, and working with the select boards in each of those towns, saying, hey, we'd like to learn more. And that's essentially what this is, learning more and really focusing on the municipality and the circumstances within that municipality, to have some potential understanding of what the revenue could be, what the potential impact would be on average, based on the population, so on and so forth. So that's sort of how we went from this larger document to this individual one for Waitsfield. I met with I think it was the 9th of December, met with the select board in Warren, and had a discussion with them. They are interested in or talked about the possibility of having a discussion at town meeting about a local options tax, not a vote, but a dialogue in that town. And so I'm working with them on some specific detail work as well.
Thanks for that.
And I think it's important to, because it is a public meeting, maybe people will watch it. There was a proposal in 2020.
Yeah.
And the town rejected a charter change. At that time, there was not a specific proposal, it was just authorizing the town to hold a vote on whether to adopt it. But at the time, the concept that was being discussed was a valley-wide tax to
Yep.
pay for special valley-wide projects.
Correct.
And I just want to be clear that personally, my interest in looking at this is to pay for infrastructure and capital projects in Waitsfield. That's where our needs are. That's where our pressure is going to be on the tax rate in the future. So I just want to make sure that we're not revisiting, although there are values in having a more valley-wide thing. I think that since Waitsfield is the downtown for the valley, we will serve the valley well if we have our infrastructure in place.
And I think it's an important distinction. I mean, the previous effort started around 2017, 2018, and essentially ended in 2020 with that vote. Was Plain District and Chamber board members together identifying a local options tax as a vehicle to address a variety of valley-wide needs. And the proposal was a multi-town local options tax with a proposal, everything from the buckets and where that type of funding would be spent, the administrative structure, so on and so forth. What's being explored at this time is not that.
Yeah.
There is no multi-town local options tax that exists in the state of Vermont. I actually don't know, I've been unable to find a local option tax across multiple municipalities that exists anywhere in the country. And that is an inherent challenge. Municipalities in select board's authority is to identify community priorities, raise funds and spend money to address those priorities. That's essentially what a local options tax structure would need, and it's the same activity that the municipality does with its budget every year and its raising of taxes. So it is essentially structurally, there's no change from business as usual for the municipality, and what's being considered in Warren, based on my initial conversations with them, is is exploring it as a Warren project, not a multi-town, a 3-town initiative. Even though the planning district is the same entity that was involved before, we are serving in the role of trying to understand and sort of declutter what is an LOT and what could it mean, and just ensuring that the select board has all the information it needs to make a quality decision.
I think unlike, I don't know how many towns had implemented a local option tax as of the last vote in Waitsfield in 2020. My understanding, at least, is that there's a lot more information available now. So I feel like the ability of us as a board and us as a town to make a well-reasoned, well-informed decision is far better because there's more data to look at, and there are going to be things that we can know because it's numbers, and I appreciate the effort to try to reasonably predict things in the future, but there's also a limit to how well we can reasonably predict the future. So just wanted to name that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Having spent some time with Josh on the numbers, the kind of fine tuning of the numbers, it's plus or minus like 3 or 4% either way. So it's not going to materially change the rationale for pursuing a lot or not, in my view. That's a good thing. I think that multiple folks have looked at this from multiple different directions and come up within 3 or 4% of each other. Like, that's awesome to me. And the numbers are significant, as you guys have seen in the memo. It's, could be $550,000 to $600,000 of lot revenue to the town. And seconding Brian, the infrastructure needs for a new town garage, probably most pressing, a new fire station in the not too distant future, Meadow Road Bridge, wastewater, et cetera, et cetera. If we put all that on the property tax, which has been our historical means of raising revenue, you're talking a 40 or 50% increase. It's rugged. If we can, because we as the commercial hub of the valley are providing services to our neighbors in Warren and Facein and Duxbury and Buell's Gore and Granville and all around.
And visitors from all over the eastern
and all over the country.
But I'm very concerned. Vermont is the 3rd highest tax state in the country. And we're talking about adding to that tax burden. It seems like with the amount of taxes that the Vermonters pay, and we shouldn't have to worry about adding more taxes. There should be enough money to go around. I'm really concerned about affordability and how this will negatively impact some families.
Share that concern.
We are the number one thing people come to me and complain about is taxes. Not the roads, nothing else. Taxes. And they complain to me very loudly about taxes. And I'm just not too excited about adding to the tax burden.
Yeah. No, I
don't want to be responsible, myself and my vote. I don't want to be responsible for adding to the tax burden.
Yeah, I think I share that concern, and right now the property owners share a bigger percentage of that tax burden because that's our only means to raise revenue for the town. If we can share that load with visitors from near and far.
Yeah, but we're only going to 2/3 of this tax will come from us, the residents of this valley, right here on page 40.
No.
Right there.
The other way around, Fred.
No.
No.
No. That's the
Retail sales.
Yeah.
That means Kenyans and Bisbees and RK Miles and places that we go to buy
Well, actually, so this is actually showing the 4 different categories of taxes, retail sales being the majority. There's also, but there are a tremendous amount of exemptions when it comes to retail sales tax. So currently.
Food, drugs.
Correct, groceries.
Clothes, yeah.
Clothes.
Housing.
Equipment of many
Really
kinds.
essential services. I mean, essential
Essential
goods.
service.
It's things that
Basic
people
needs,
need
essential
to
goods.
get
Things
by.
you use for agricultural use, I believe, has a separate sales tax exemption.
Right. Yeah, the majority is retail, and retail, and so essentially it's the
We're taxing ourselves.
Tax-free.
We're adding a tax that we will pay
So
ourselves.
I would recommend wait until the final version, which is gonna identify and project what, how much is paid for by residents and non-residents. And that's informed by looking at a variety of different things. So I would say hold off, but I think that, I'm gonna hold off and give you an answer. But I look forward to having that discussion when we have all the information in front of us.
Okay.
Because that is a real concern. I mean, local option taxes have been identified as being, they're not a regressive tax. The visitors and those that are going out to eat more often pay more versus those who don't.
But right here in your graph, it's only a small portion. And oh, by the way, some of us like to go out to a restaurant
Yeah.
occasionally too.
Right. And so there's more information coming.
Okay. I look forward
I
to seeing it.
appreciate your concern. I'm looking
Yeah.
at almost the opposite, though, is I want to provide tax relief, but by spreading the burden around. Because if we do a town garage and a fire station
And a
and a
bridge.
railroad bridge, our property taxes are going to go up. I mean, just unavoidable.
And I think part of what we're looking at is how much more would all of us pay in that scenario versus a local option tax,
Well,
which,
you're only going to get so much money from from the lot tax. And what I've heard tonight, we've already spent it 10 times over.
We have, I don't think we spent it yet.
Well-
You know what our needs are.
I certainly do.
Yeah,
I
so
certainly do, but I also know what it is to try to come up with paying that property tax bill and all the other taxes that we're saddled with. Vermont is the 3rd highest tax state in the nation. And we should be able to live within our budgets.
I guess I'm here as the administrator, but we've been working hard on pulling the budget together, and we're being pretty critical with trying to make a really tight budget, which doesn't accommodate a lot of the needs that we're talking about, the town garage, which, we're beginning in full swing, work with the fire department. We're talking about RFP tonight, a proposal for the Meadowbrook Bridge. And of course, these extreme weather events and the culverts that we have a list that we're repairing, replacing, et cetera, et cetera. I just don't know where to decrease the budget to accommodate these new needs without raising taxes. And so that's like, I'm with you. So where do we make up this extra money to pay for these needs that the town has?
yeah, and I know we're working it out 3 or 4% either way on what percent is estimated to be paid by visitors who don't live here or work here. But my understanding is that it should be a significant majority, over 50%, some north of that, over 60%.
over 80%.
Over 80%. I think the previous number that we talked about was over 3/4. So
But that isn't what Josh has put in his paper.
It is.
it is, yeah.
It's in a different section, but it is.
We can
Well, then it
go,
contradicts this page.
this page is total retail sales, which isn't broken down by
Meals,
who pays
alcohol,
it.
rooms,
Yeah,
retail.
but this isn't saying this is not what Waitsfield people are paying. This is the total that all taxpayers,
Yeah.
all visitors, all neighboring
Yeah,
towns
not
who shop in
Waitsfield
town.
taxpayers. A family from Boston who comes and rents a room, goes out to eat, that's a big portion of this, as I think your final numbers will show. And if it is 75-80% paid for by visitors and not Waitsfield residents and renters and business owners, then every dollar that is paid by a visitor goes to help reduce Waitsfield taxpayers' tax burden in the future when we have all these needs. So it's a way to pay 5 times less, 4 times less than if we had no way to get taxes from the visitors to our town. Right now, we don't see any benefit to our municipal budget from someone who comes from New York City and spends $10,000.
Yeah, or a second homeowner, or
Or a
a
second
Payson
homeowner.
resident, or a Warren resident.
We don't see a dime of that economic activity. And to get
Well, then
part of
let's
that.
take retail off. Let's not tax retail then.
That would be an option. We're gonna look at all of the numbers and decide what works best for us. You know, one other change that has happened is, since the last vote, Waterbury, Montpelier, Berlin, I think Berry City.
Brandon,
since then,
Middlebury.
Williston, so,
That argument doesn't wash with me.
but it does to me, because it says the retail destinations, if you shop outside of town, you're paying that 1% tax in most of our retail centers.
Well, if your friend jumps out the window, you want to jump out the window too,
Depends.
you know?
Well, the reason why they're doing it is for the reason that was discussed, which is those municipalities are identifying a way to be able to address the costs and needs that are in their community, and doing it in a way that does not saddle the property tax owners, property taxpayers with all of the burden.
What I think I'm hearing is that everybody shares a concern about
Yeah, that's number one.
about taxes and affordability, and where we're really diverging is how we manage to address that. So I want to name that we're all definitely concerned about a very similar set of issues, and I think it remains to be seen how best to address that, or sort of what our options are.
Yeah.
Because I am really proud that we managed to find ways to also tighten the belt, because to your previous point, I think it is also important for us to figure out how to try to be as lean and responsible as possible. And I think that's something that we've managed to accomplish with the health insurance, changes and things like that. But this is another one of those potential both and rather than either or. And I think we all want to try to help. It's just a matter of what that help looks like.
And I think that's been demonstrated, that last year our tax rate went down 0.5%. The year before that it went up 1.25%. Inflation was about 4%. The year before that we got hit, it went up 8%. Inflation was 8%. So the year before.
We've been very good.
So, we've been keeping it under inflation.
Yep.
So that's average. If you average those 3 years out, it's like 3.25% a year, and inflation's been between 3 and 4, as high as 8. So I don't think we're looking to be just tax and spend, but we're trying to figure out how to pay for needs.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all want a safe bridge to drive on, a town garage that is safe for our road crew and lets our roads get cleaned. We would like wastewater that provides access for safe septic and housing, and we'd like to have as low taxes as possible. I think we're all on the same page about that. And what's the best way to accomplish that? And we can, I think, dig into the numbers next week.
Great.
So more coming soon.
Anything else
That's what
on
I'm
this?
hearing.
So, ready to move on?
Thanks for putting this together.
Yes, Josh.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. And I like it.
I understand you're in the, you're making progress in.
And hiring. Yep,
Good.
yeah.
Nice.
I really, you guys, Sam did a great job with this, and I
Yeah.
appreciate your following up and
100%.
keeping it going.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, one of our goals is to do what we can to ensure that those that are our community can make informed decisions, and sifting through and understanding sort of what the opportunities are and the challenges. I feel fortunate that we get to do that for this place in support of the broader community.
And you mentioned Facein, you said that there's a lack of data for them.
Yeah.
There still are economic activity, are they?
Yes.
Do you think they're?
Yeah, most of this data comes from the data comes from the Vermont Department of Taxes. The Vermont Department of Taxes releases information every year of the, within each of these different taxes, and spending and taxes that take place in each town. Unfortunately, FASTN's data has not been available for the last couple of years because the Department of Taxes only releases information, let's say, on drinking and eating establishments when there are such a number of eating and drinking establishments to create anonymity of data, right? So they don't, if there's two places, they don't want to release that data because somebody at one restaurant can say, wait, I know what my numbers are and I can figure out yours. So there's a magic number, it's like 7 or 8, and there's been times where FASTN has had enough of those businesses that data has been released, and there's been times where it hasn't. Same thing has happened in Warren. There's years when their alcohol tax data has not been made available because there weren't enough establishments so the FASTN data is very difficult, well, is not available.
Yeah.
And we followed up, we've had a discussion with members of the select board and FASTN who have said, hey, yeah, would you mind asking again and asking directly, and we have nice and kindly and a little bit more forcefully, and no luck. So at this point, the data to help understand what the opportunity is and is not available for FASTN.
I would wonder, because from what I understand from the research we've done thus far, Airbnbs and short-term rentals should theoretically be subject to local property taxes. And while I know FASTN maybe doesn't have a lot of bars, I'm pretty sure they have a lot of short-term rentals.
Yeah. So there might be exactly some other ways to explore and answer questions. I mean, I think for a community that's looking at the possibility of a local options tax, it is about understanding what the opportunity is and the potential impact, and that's the question. A lot of communities that I've surveyed through this process, I've honestly found no communities that have asked and tried to answer some of the questions that we're trying to answer. And I think that they're coming at this from, here's the opportunity, and yeah, that looks good, and let's go forward. And the Plain District has the opportunity to dig a little bit deeper and ask some deeper questions and put together some projections based on a solid methodology that we put together. So, we're trying to answer questions that not every community is asking, and some communities may not need all of that data, but that's where we were starting from.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you for investing so much time and effort into this.
Yeah.
It's like been a significant amount, and I want to acknowledge that and thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's our pleasure.
So we'll get the final report
Yep.
in a few days.
Yep.
Right. So let's move on to item 5, the D&K Engineering Services
I'll stay
contract amendment.
I put in the administrative report the biggest significant adjustments to Amendment 4. They're basically it's things that were in the past. We talked about the archaeological work and how 2 representatives from D&K had come out to meet with them. We spent the whole morning going through. So, and the extended hydrology test, et cetera, et cetera. So most of this is paying them for work that they've done. It brings it up $209,700 to a grand total to fruition, to 100% design, to 1.19 million. We had actually seen this, I think it was maybe in August or September, and then that had to go to the state for approval, which happened mid-December.
And this is all being funded by the
ARPA grant.
money, so.
Yeah, these are essentially scope changes. I think Amendment 3 got us to essentially 100% design. But as you get further into design, there's always changes in the scope of work. Some that we've requested to improve the design that'll reduce construction costs, like some of the pump station changes that are listed here. Pre-bidding the primary treatment technology, the SVR manufacturer pre-bid. That will help reduce cost later down the road when we get to installation. Some were requirements from the state DEC, right, to do the leach field test, for example. That was a lot of money. That actually will help us indirectly because it gets us a lower permit threshold and will reduce the cost of the equipment, of the treatment equipment. But it's, it's costs we have to pay up front to get there. The good news is, as Brian just pointed out, we have the ARPA funds to fully cover this and then some. Like there's $3.5 million ARPA grant plus 300-ish of state grants that have, will more than cover this $3.2 million of design work.
Really, there's really no option, we just need to go ahead with this.
Yeah, we've committed to this work. The state DEC won't accept the design without this work, so it's, in order to keep the project moving, we need to do this, and we have the funding to do it, the federal ARPA funding to do it.
Thanks for that explanation.
Yeah. Any discussion? Motion?
I'd move that we sign the D&K Amendment Number 4 for the
All
wastewater
in favor?
design.
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you,
happy
Josh,
to be
very
here,
much.
buddy.
So the fire department generator,
Yeah, I printed these off, just so you see. I did ask Brian.
as you're handing it out, maybe you could give a little bit of an update that you've been doing a little bit of work with the fire department, both on, you and Josh met with them about the budget and the capital budget, and then you followed up with the generator and
Yeah,
things
the
like that.
generator, well, we were meeting with the electrician to look at the electrical panel, and he noticed again that the generator was out. He just looked, he's like, oh, your generator's out. And they had thought they had just fixed it. It's been an ongoing problem. They had changed, in terms of the generator, they had changed from Brookfield Service to one of their assistant chiefs worked for wards. They had been working with wards and still haven't been able to fix it after spending a pretty good amount of money. So I asked if it was okay for us to try to figure this out, and so I reached out to Brookfield Service. The chief was okay with it. I met with Brookfield Service there last week or the week before, just an assessment, and this was what they sent. 1.5, I guess they just sent this today. And I thought it was important because we all believe that the fire station needs to be working, and right now the generator is not working. And yeah, we could talk about the fire department for a while, but I'll just say in response to what Brian prefaced this, is, I think the relationship and the communication is really improving. I've been texting the chief, Jared Young, sometimes 2-3 times a week the last month, which I think is a really beneficial change. And I think this is more proof. And as a matter of fact, their alarm had not been inspected in 4 years, and now that's going to be inspected next week.
What's that?
Their alarm, just like the general Wayhouse alarm.
Oh, okay.
So it's out of compliance.
Alarm for,
The alarm, like the fire alarm.
oh, the fire.
Just like-
Oh,
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
kind of important.
Yeah, so like it's been on service, and because the relationship has maybe broken down in recent years, that's just gone by the wayside. Now that I said, hey chief, do you mind if I take care of the alarm inspection? He said, that'd be great, thanks. So this, if you have any more questions about the generator, let me know.
And just as we talk about the fire department budget later tonight, we do have a line item in there for administrative support that does fund through the fire department budget a portion of York's time to do this assistance, but
Yeah,
you need to be, not let it
yeah.
creep up on you and take control.
Yeah, we also have a facilities reserve in the capital improvement area. We have a reserve account that can cover the cost of some of this stuff.
Yes.
And I
This
would
is a
argue-
relatively new generator.
I asked Brookfield Service about it. I asked, is it undersized? Yes, probably. he said, basically it's a pretty affordable generator, and he likened it to like the ones you buy at the Home Depot or Lowe's. So I'll just leave that, I'll just say that.
I got one of those.
So it's been the same generator the entire time, it's just that it's been serviced by two different service providers? Is that accurate?
Yep.
Okay, but it sounds as if maybe regardless of service provider, it's not the right tool for the job.
For now,
Maybe.
we're not ready to say, they have not recommended we replace it. I did ask, based on a conversation Brian and I had, whether the generator behind the General Weight House could service the fire station, and they said they're not comfortable making that recommendation, they'd have to do load tests, et cetera, et cetera. If it came to that point where the cost to fix the generator was a lot, or if you'd like to do that now, then they could take that on and see if that could.
Because that's the newer generator.
No, this generator at the fire station is newer than the one over.
Really?
Yeah, because their old generator went, and they wanted to buy a new one, and I advocated for hooking onto the
Yeah.
65 kW behind the Weight House, which is what it was oversized to
That's what I
do.
thought.
And the fire department did not want to do that. But that generator behind the Weight House, 65 kW, was meant, when we bought it, it was meant to service the school, the medical clinic, and the fire station. That was what the intent was.
If you'd like, I mean, I could see what the cost would be
I'm not,
to figure out if they could say, oh yes, this generator could do it. and then we
I'm
could
not
decide.
advocating that.
I think for $640, we
I
should
agree.
just go ahead and fix the generator, and
Yeah.
and that is, before we made a decision to replace this one, though, we ought to answer
Discuss
question.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What that big that's a huge generator.
Yeah,
And I'm not aware of what work might have been done on this previously, but solar and battery storage solutions, I just wanted to throw it in there. There's been very few categories of goods that have experienced greater efficiency growth and cost lowering in the last couple of years than battery storage and solar panels. And so there's a significant commitment from the state to, and I believe there are specific programs for municipal buildings as well, grant programs. So when we do need to replace energy solutions for our municipal buildings, I think we should definitely be looking at those things.
yeah, all of our power's coming, I mean, we
Right,
have our solar field.
Our power is coming from that, but I believe,
You asked Josh Rogers and Charlie Goodman about those solar panels. I think Charlie
I think
wants to take
There's
the
also-
grader to him. But no.
yeah,
Also-
energy storage and battery generator solutions basically,
Yeah.
which replace fuel oil generators,
Yeah.
are a lot better now than they were even 3 years ago.
Yeah, and the cost of the generator is, it gets inspected annually, I mean, it runs once a week, kicks on, you have to replace the fuel.
So
There's cost to it.
it sounds like we may be having a discussion about a new generator, so definitely we should have that, keep that in mind with the options
Yeah,
on.
that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
I think the sort of ongoing recurring costs to, maintain it, I feel like that should be factored into the equation when we're considering what's the most cost effective
yeah,
in longer term. So like it's $640 to repair it now, and that's fine, but if we're having to repair it every other week,
yeah.
that $640 adds up. And sort of figuring out what the break point is.
That can be
where
factored
it's like,
into the analysis, but I'm quite sure the state will help with battery and solar solutions, but they probably won't help us with a new fuel oil generator.
No,
Yeah,
if we were replacing one, they would help us with
Right.
that, yeah.
but for now, this is hopefully a patch that is going to work.
Yes.
Since They
It's not gonna
struggled with it for over a year.
So do we need a motion?
Yes, please.
I'd make a motion that we pay this bill for
Second.
Brookfield.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the second one is the Meadow Road Bridge.
Yeah, I printed out, I did email everyone, and here
yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah,
is.
I printed it myself.
proposal. The one thing I have not asked, so essentially, this is what we talked about 3 weeks ago. to do a small scale engineering A&E studies. They quoted $4,250. That would include basically them coming out, doing an assessment, and then creating a report for us. Really, we're looking for a cost benefit analysis. Is it worth putting more money into engineering to say, is this bridge worth saving? And that's what this 4,250 should accomplish. Yes, we believe that you can engineer a fix to this bridge where the cost benefit analysis works out. I don't know if this amount of money, and I suspect a lot of it would be able to be then taken away from the other one that they first submitted to the town, the first proposal, because this would take away a lot of the work that they already were gonna do for that big proposal. I mean, does that make sense? Like they made a proposal originally for, I don't wanna quote the wrong amount, let's say $15,000.
Yeah, it was 12 to 15.
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
this work was gonna be what they were doing towards that also. So I'm assuming, but I have not clarified, that if we go through with this and they come with the finding that the cost benefit analysis is worth moving forward to that next A&E study, that would not be that full amount, because some of the work would already be done.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't clear.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And so I would like to clarify that with them.
Okay. And what was the cap that we authorized you to sign?
I don't remember.
It's like, I think it was like 3,000 or
3,000, I think.
3,500 or something like that.
It was 3 or 35.
Yes.
Yep.
How do folks feel? I think we need to keep making progress on that bridge.
I agree.
I would move that we pay the $4,250 for the study.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
I want to make sure that, sorry.
Okay.
I think at some point, I don't think that it affects my vote here, but I do want to ensure that we then circle back with them to ensure that this 4,250 is removed or is taken out of the amount as, or what York just.
My guess is it wouldn't be the full 4,250, but if you look back at that original proposal, you know, there's a lot of overlap and some is not overlap. Like the report that we'll get from this 4,250 would be different.
Okay.
So, but my guess is the majority of the 4,250 would come off the cost.
On phase 2, if you will.
If we decide, if this proves that it's worth it. I'll also add, I meet with FEMA again, and I'm gonna find some extra, I wanna clarify, if the bridge isn't totally worth saving, will FEMA still fund redoing the decking, just so it's safer for cars and safer for tires, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't wanna say if it is or not, but I'm hoping that would be the case, even if we don't go to save the bridge. Cause right now, we're planning on using the bridge for the next X number of years until we can either fix it or, and the decking really needs work.
So when are you meeting with them?
It might be tomorrow or Wednesday.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
We
had a second.
You have a question first? Or are you voting?
Marissa?
sorry, I thought so there were questions after the second, and I posed a question or made a comment. Are we going back to voting again? Because that's what I was trying to do.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, final vote.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we are.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Have
That's
we
what I was trying to do.
Do you know, I'm looking at the budget report that Steve gave me today. I don't see the emergency FEMA reimbursement. Have we gotten that? I thought I did see it.
I don't know. I feel like we did in
I know
December.
we were told it was coming.
Yeah. Again, the government shutdown pushed that back a ways, and I got a message that it was back in the queue after the government reopened. I feel like maybe it was put in December, but
Okay.
I don't
We just
recall.
know it's coming. So, next item is the budget, and we started off with wanting to take a look at our work plan to see where we are, and we've already Marissa made one suggestion earlier.
Fred, this was better.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I made an improved copy, I figured out how to copy so it shows the subtasks, the sub-items. And so this copy, and I can share my screen and put that up also, Larissa, if you'd be interested.
Be great.
That would be good, yeah.
And even if I'm not interested, it's possible that people watching the TV. But I am interested, so it's redundant.
I think I can do this.
I currently see
I see a little bit of green.
I see the final meeting packet and a news feed on the right.
Okay, well, that's not the right thing then, so thank you. You guys can keep talking.
Maybe we'll
I'll-
shoot.
Yeah, I'll work on it.
So what are we stuck on? Select-board server?
I'm not sure we're all right. Is that working, Larissa?
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Can you say that again?
I'm looking at the big red stuck.
I'm not sure we're necessarily stuck anymore. Larissa and some others expressed interest in having access to the server, the town server. And right now, given our current server, there would be multiple issues with having access to that.
You said that in an email at some point.
Yeah, there would be work that would need to go into securing things that should be secure, that we shouldn't have
okay.
access to, which right now we don't have.
Yeah. So do you want to walk through kind of quickly some of the highlights? Just looking at it, we got the wastewater, we just
And also, if
took
we-
some action on moving forward.
and if we want to fill in any of the grays, especially, I'd be in
I
favor of
mean,
that.
do you want to just go from top down, or, I mean,
That could take the entire evening.
Yeah, I'd rather.
I don't know.
I want to spend more time on the spreadsheets.
Well, I would too. I'm not prepared to say like things that are really, I mean, I'll highlight that quite a few things are done, that we've taken on and, you know, accomplished, which I think feel really good about. There are still things that we haven't said, you know, how high a priority they are. In terms of things that are worth really identifying, I mean, I personally just keep trying to push through when there's time, and when things come to my plate, I'm like, this is a good time to take this on. And we take it on. I think in terms of time, like things that are time sensitive, I think overall, I looked at it earlier today and I feel pretty good about it. And, you know, in terms of town meeting planning, Dave talked about earlier, that was something I noticed this morning that, you know, needs attention, and Dave brought it up tonight. Sorry, I'm getting
Yeah,
vocal.
we'll be working on the recommendation for both time of meeting and other things that we're gonna try to improve to help people have
Cool.
better access to be able to come.
I think in terms of budget items, like right now, I look at the ash tree plan for the borer.
Where are you?
That's
Sorry.
something, this is on page 6 of 7, under conservation, climate, and natural resources. It's one that I just, you know, I think we want to ensure that we don't stall too long on that, because the cost is going to go up.
Yeah.
So in terms of a budget item, that might be something that we want to put some money towards.
So can we rate high in that to at least decide what we wanna do?
Sure.
Thanks.
And I think as Larissa suggested earlier, we add kind of short-term management for the fairgrounds parcel. Work out arrangement with Hadley.
Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm trying to remember where that is. Is it, Fairgrounds property. Meet with Hadley to discuss needs. Can we just put it under that?
Yeah.
Is that under property maintenance?
And
Yeah.
property maintenance, yeah? Let's say, we kind of started working on it tonight, and to that, and then,
I think having some sort of timeline for that would be good too.
Yeah. I thought you were looking at me that way, Fred.
No, I'm trying to see what York is doing on the,
it's so big. Sorry, Larissa, you had to bear with me going up and down.
Oh, good. I'm impressed that you managed to have more tabs than I do.
That's nothing. Are you kidding? That's like the least tabs I've ever had open.
Oh my goodness.
And sorry, I just wanted to look at the road real quick while we're talking about budget.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, did you just add that, or was that already there?
What?
The fairgrounds?
No, it was already there.
Okay, I didn't see it. Good.
Larissa, what were you thinking for dates?
Oh, I mean, I just wanted to include the fact that Brian said we really need to do that before the spring, so whatever that means. And I can't speak to that because that was Brian's.
What are you thinking, like mid-April?
Yeah, before he gets cows out of the fairgrounds.
Let's do April 1st.
Yeah.
I mean, and we could take a long time, and I was not necessarily prepared to say these are the real points of interest. I mean, I feel pretty good about where we're at, honestly.
We usually, we do an organizational meeting in March and revisit the work plan then in more detail to look forward to the year, so we can, I guess does anything stand out? I see another stuck, the Route 117 intersection. That got a lot of attention on Front Porch Forum about 3 weeks ago.
Really?
yes.
It did, yeah, that's right.
I'll highlight also the fire hydrant on Wilson East Warren.
Which,
I tried to get Kingsbury to give a quote. They still haven't provided one. I assume they're going to, but John Donaldson called me after. It's his property with the pond. And he would really like it not to be through his property. He's afraid that there's going to be exponential cost for him personally. If they tear up his driveway, his property, et cetera, so they'll have to fix. And so my understanding is the quote that we have currently from Chris Griffin, like the culvert and some of the things that are going to be put in to allow the fire hydrant is a cost to putting the hydrant in to protect John Donaldson's property, which I understand completely. But I just wanted to make sure, I think that should be transparent, that the cost does include some extras so that it's coming just from the road access and not from his driveway, and that does add to the cost, is my understanding.
Well, he did donate access to us.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we should respect his property as much as we can.
But I do think that's part of the reason the cost is a little higher than maybe we originally thought.
Well, and I think also that there's mobilization cost because previously most of the equipment was be present while they were actively doing work.
But it's still worth getting another quote.
Yeah, and I'm surprised I haven't heard from Kingsbury because I talked to him maybe almost 2 months ago.
Right. Anything else stand out on the work plan?
Butternut,
I guess, sorry, go ahead.
Butternut Hill Road done. Very last page, 7.
Butternut Hill. No, Dana Hill water bars.
I think it's under Select Board site visits, Fred.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a subtask under Select Board site visits, which
Oh, okay, I didn't understand what
some
was.
of us did.
Larissa may have filled that out actually, because it does kind of ring a bell. Maybe I did it. At any rate, Larissa's probably better at making sure things are filled out completely.
So we did a site visit to Butternut Hill.
Yeah. I think almost all of us have been there, at least once.
Individually, yeah. Yeah, okay, yep, okay.
I'm kind of seconding Brian that the immediate priority now is budget and town meeting prep and all. And this review's more valuable to me right after that in March.
Yep.
But right now, like, I got a bunch of budget work.
Yep.
So let's move on.
Yeah, I was thinking, I think the reason that, and this was my recommendation, that we put work plan on was just so that there was some context, but I can see that it maybe tracks things a bit.
I think it was good for even just beginning my organization a little bit. I mean, I went through and filled some things out that I hadn't done the last couple of weeks. It was good. Do you want to start with road or?
You know, and before we do the budget, part of it is, as a new select board member this year, just understanding like what some of these things are and what the timing is important to me. And also, I just naturally get nervous when I see no status on things. I just, like, that makes me think, or it makes me nervous that, what is this, you know, how are we paying attention to what the status is and when it needs to be done? So I think next couple months after budget.
And you've asked me to do that, and I have filled some in. It's hard for me to do by myself.
Is it safe to say that if there's no status report, that nothing's happening?
I guess I would run through them. If it is like, that doesn't make sense that it's a low priority, then we should make a note to have a discussion about it.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I'm
And
actually
I'll-
more worried about having no priority.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'll add that Larissa and we have the free version of this program. Larissa and I had access before, and that has changed to Dave and I don't know, I've sent you some,
Okay,
so,
I'll take a
and
look.
if you want to work through it at some point, so just for full transparency, that's the select board member that has access to the
Great,
full.
thank you.
Okay. Do you want to start with the fire or road?
Yes, I just found that out.
I filled out some more road stuff today, because Josh came in.
So York and Chach and I met with Charlie and Josh Rogers a couple weeks ago, and you've had some follow-ups with Josh. And you had an incomplete draft in our packet. You filled in more of the blanks since then.
Almost everything's full, I think, yeah. And so I don't know if you want me to kind of go through this line by line, or how, or things that are noteworthy, or what your usual process is.
You know, I'd go through significant changes. He hasn't filled out salaries because we need to have a conversation about salaries in executive session. I'm not gonna do that tonight, but just need to do it next week or the week after. Other than that,
Over time, Josh, it's a really hard question to answer, but he suspects we should just keep it the same, but then he says that's up to the select board. Road
one
department.
thing I will say that Steve did run a budget report a year to date, halfway through the fiscal year, and nothing really is, there's no big reason for concern, no red flags. I told Steve I wanted to get a handle on, if he could, our unassigned budget balance, kind of what he expects that to be by the end of the month. He said he'd work on that, but you know, it generally looks good. The one thing that really stood out when we get to the fire department was we learned something today, that we were wondering why we had overspent salaries by about $1,000 halfway through the fiscal year. And it turns out the process that we use to pay the fire department is at the end of the calendar year, they all put in their timesheets and they're paid once. So it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That answers a lot.
Brian and I were like, oh.
I didn't know that.
It was a really big aha moment.
Yes.
Like, it's kind of like, I remember where I was standing where Steve said that.
So, yeah.
Road department insurance, passive, I reached out to passive a week ago, and they say, yeah, we know you want it, tough luck, we don't have it yet. I think you can see, I think I filled in all these equations right, the changes, like 33% on oil, et cetera, these are all informed by Josh and Charlie. You know, what they recommend, how they go up based on what they're seeing with the costs. Is this blue?
Yes.
These blues are things that we really can get rid of. They're no longer in use.
Well, we can get rid of them if they haven't been in use in any of the past budgets that we show.
Okay. So if we get rid of this line next year, then this one, for example, in
Exactly.
2015 can go. Okay, that's good to know. If you see anything that looks different,
I see a reduction.
the backhoe, that was based on, I think, tires, if I remember correctly. And they purchased big tires this year. This is, to help you, this is the 2026 budget.
Yeah.
Right here is the 25 actual. So, and this was the 25 budget. So this is what was actually spent in 25. This is the budget that we're in right now, the 26 fiscal year budget. So this was higher because, and he had already just purchased these new tires, which were quite pricey, clearly. Roadside mower.
York, would you mind freezing the top row?
Yeah,
just
that was my question too.
in the view tab.
Yeah, if you help me do it real quick so I don't have to remember. Don't I lock it by?
I
Can I
believe
just right
it's
click?
freeze panes. That's not showing up.
Don't you have to put the row on first?
You have to highlight the row first, yeah.
You want to highlight this? Don't you do the one under it?
Yeah.
Don't you do the one under it?
Sure.
Isn't that the way you do it? And then it freezes the one above it?
Try it.
I think
Is that
Yeah.
how
Now
you
it
do
says
it?
freeze pane.
I don't think so, but
I
No?
think
Go ahead.
it'll be, yeah, that one. And then freeze panes there.
Freeze panes.
Yes, freeze.
This one?
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah,
That's
just
just
the
at
one
the
under.
top.
On every version, they change that.
You just did unfreeze panes.
Oh,
Which is good, now, yeah, now you're in the right place and freeze.
There we go.
Yeah, that is the one under.
Rock on.
You made me nervous for a second.
Oh, I didn't read in the AI overview. Select row below the last one.
You know what?
No, you got it. You were right.
The AI overview?
I just Googled that.
Oh.
Freeze top row to walk
Did
you
it say
through.
that?
Yep.
The AI is words like
So, cutting the chase, it looks like we're missing a few items, but once we add those in.
What are we looking, what are we missing?
Like,
In the one that I'm sharing right now.
oh, this
Because
is different than.
Josh wasn't able to
Yes.
meet with me
Okay.
until today.
Okay.
So the ones that are
Okay.
missing, I think, are fully informed, with just a couple exceptions. This might change roadside mower. As I said, Josh is looking into this. The roadside mower needs a new deck, and he did not feel comfortable sharing that cost. He's a little nervous about uniform services and uniform materials. He's hoping that this is right, but he said it could be time that they make a big change. But he didn't feel enough to raise it more than what we raised this 14%. Electricity needed some work. I kind of wanted to talk to Steve about this.
And the highlight colors just mean further work of some kind?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got rid of most of the ones that were in that, because I went through those with Josh today too. Those were for more my notes, and I'm sorry that they were in that. But I was hoping we'd be able to reduce this. Josh was not comfortable with reducing this, the tire chains, which is unfortunate, but he felt pretty strongly about it. The Ventrac storage is a shed on the, what's the property, Brian? The shed with the
Moving
FEMA
the shed
buyout.
from the buyout
Yeah.
property.
Oh,
Yeah, facing-
yeah, Grant. North Face one.
North Basin, if you remember.
Grant, right?
FEMA bought out,
Yes.
yes, Jen Grant's property. There's a shed there, and Josh and Charlie want to use that shed to put behind the fire department for Ventrac storage. Currently, Ventrac stored in the winter in the fire station. Josh and Charlie feel very good about this, that they'll be able to use this to store it. The chief, Jan, of the fire department said he's okay with them using the fire station for this one more winter, but after this, it really creates a problem. So this 10,000 is to change where the door is, to put a new roof on it, to get heating to it, et cetera, et cetera. And as of now, JB, Weir, Planning and Zoning doesn't see any issues with being able to put it behind the fire station.
And that's, I think as we get more into the aggregate budget versus the SIP plan, that's something that could actually go in the capital improvement
I kind of thought the same
plan as
thing.
well.
And it's
Against-
literally going behind the fire station,
That is the plan currently.
not a side.
That's my
It
understanding.
will basically not be visible.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
It's not gonna be in front of the cemetery.
That's what I'm.
Again, all of these are informed numbers based on our conversation with Josh and Charlie. Crushed gravel, I think, is more something that's in the capital plan.
Yeah.
So where are we on salt and?
So we decreased by 10,000. The sand, we went up by 20%. And chloride, we're keeping the same, that's 2 deliveries of chloride according to Josh Rogers, our road foreman. Stone, we're keeping the same, we are increasing culverts a little bit because the increased cost of culverts essentially. Everything else is remaining pretty flat.
Where's Sam?
Sand is at the top, line 109 or 51. We
Oh,
went from
okay,
75,000 to 90,000.
Yeah, that's one area that we kind of blew the budget this year. We budgeted 75 and we're at 89.
Yeah,
And that's just the cost of what up.
that's right.
Right, for sand?
For
Yep.
sand, trucking, it's right, I'll highlight it. Right there, Larissa.
We're at 89 right now?
This doesn't show this current fiscal year.
Yes.
The number that it's showing is the 75.
I see.
budget,
Oh, okay,
75
okay.
Actual.
I'm reading from something
That I can't see,
that you
okay.
can see, yeah.
Yeah, that's, I did not put the year to date, the 26 year to date cost.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's
matter.
some things it helps, some things it doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
this would have been one more extraneous line.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
the rest of those remained relatively flat, except like I said, culverts.
And there is a chance he's gonna be able, if we replace the culverts on center face and old center face and FEMA money, he can repurpose this.
Yeah, but those are different culverts than these. These culverts are those are not the really huge culverts that are 30+ thousand
Yeah.
apiece. But
Okay.
that's more in the one that Josh is working on the capital.
Yeah.
Again, just if anybody sees anything, line painting.
You know, we are getting a proposal, or have we gotten a proposal for the fog lines on,
I have not received it. Josh was gonna try to get it.
that might be one we wanna keep a pin in that.
Keep highlighted, yeah.
Road.
Yeah, if we need to do the Trombley Road,
Yeah, so right now, I essentially put in, I've tried to approximate, it's increased from 4,000 to 5,000, essentially because, I think, our conversation with Charlie and Josh was about Bridge Street and moving the yellow lines south, to accommodate room on the shoulder to create more of a pedestrian lane on Bridge Street. And that extra.
On the east side of the bridge, presumably.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. The east side of the covered bridge. Move the yellow line south, which will accommodate more room on the north side for a pedestrian lane, which would then have lines painted.
and I think the fog lines, it's really the bikers who are concerned about the East Warren Road and the fact that Warren has the white lines and we don't. And I think that's potential traffic calming too. I think we ought to
And, yeah,
put some money into that.
I'll just mention Josh and Charlie. I did talk to Josh about it today. He has his feelings. It would be an expense that would be happen pretty much every year, maybe every other year.
Yeah,
And
maybe
it's
every-
sizable, it is a sizable cost.
It's also a public safety issue.
Can we
No doubt.
can we ask Warren what it costs for that stretch for them? You know,
We can, I mean, Josh has the cost.
Yeah, he gave us a kind of a range of price per foot, and we know how many miles.
Okay.
The
is, so
longer
we
it is,
can
the cheaper it is.
Estimate it.
And then now I don't remember, it's like 35 cents a mile, I mean,
Yeah.
a foot maybe.
They gave us 14 to 18 cents per foot, and 6 miles, which is like 3 miles
That's right.
with each side, so double.
and we think that's done every year for Warren. I know they repaved a couple of years ago.
My guess is after, it might make it, the second summer would be faded, the third summer would be probably gone.
Yeah, so that would be
This-
5,000 just for that stretch, the new East Warren.
What was that, 5,000?
3 miles at that cost, or 3 miles of stripes on both sides, so 6 miles of striping at that cost.
This is outside scope, so sorry, bear with me, but this may be one of those times that like, maybe if we coordinated with Warren, and that would, if it's cheaper but if it's, a longer stretch, if we were able to coordinate with Warren, we'd be able to save both towns money.
Yeah, and I don't think Josh was clear, like, at what point does it go to 14 cents and not 16 cents? How many miles? And that would probably be helpful to know. I think that's a really good idea. Well, it's definitely a good idea.
Yep. Where else?
I mean, I know radios has decreased a little bit, but that's just because trucks, and I can go through it if you want, but it's very straightforward. This is not gonna show it well, because the salaries are not in there right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, the big categories are more, the non-salary categories are more or less
Everything's
flat.
in except, yeah,
Which is
it's a
great.
pretty tight budget. I mean, I think
Yeah.
Josh and Charlie were able to do what we asked.
Is the, remind me of the timing of adding the fourth road crew member, just thinking in comparison to last year. Like, was that fourth road crew on all of fiscal year 2026 or?
No,
only part of
and
the
that's
year?
why, that's part of the reason I tried to push Josh down to the overtime, if that's what you're getting at partially. Or are you getting at salaries?
I'm just getting at, well, both really, but salaries and overtime, like, should we expect that number to go up significantly in 27 because we have the fourth crew member for the whole year versus only part of the year in 2026, and I just can't remember when they
On the
started.
flip side of that, with 4 guys, is there as much of a need for overtime?
That was my hope. Josh refused to say yes to that. And that's
Understandably,
more- That's
yeah, I get
actually,
it.
that's actually more nuanced than
It is,
you would
no,
think.
it is.
When they're plowing
I would
Christmas
think-
Day.
It is, yeah.
I would think your proposed budget for 26 was accommodating for 4 full-time though.
I think
The intention was that
Yeah.
there would be,
That's a good question.
right?
So, and we're right now, the overtime budget, we're at about 25%, but
Yeah.
it's also January, and we've got, potentially 3 months of overtime.
Yeah. But to me, this is a great start. Like, this is really encouraging
Yes.
for basically
Yeah.
not seeing the 6, 7, 8% inflation type numbers
So
that we've
far,
seen in
yeah.
years past.
And
Yeah.
this is where we did see some of that with inflation.
Sure, tires and
Yeah.
chains and all
Yeah.
that
And I'll
stuff.
say again, Josh and Charlie both are really good at saying like, do you want to blow the budget? So they really do try to get realistic numbers so that we don't blow the budget, because they feel like we're like breathing down their neck, which I don't think is happening. But, so I do think they do their best to say, these are realistically what we expect.
Yeah, Charlie has been here making budgets before.
Yeah.
Brutal.
And again, in terms of the insurance,
It's not gonna, it's gonna go up, but it's not gonna break the budget either, so.
yeah, it was a couple $1,000s this year extra, which I assume was right, but that's that. I mean, the capital budget is gonna be, that's where a lot more of the game is gonna be played, I assume.
Yeah, so on that front, I have a kind of a draft similar to you have of, it's formatted to add 2027 and all that stuff, and filled it in based on the information we have today. which is not complete, somewhat similar to this. I did send Charlie and Josh, or I think I just sent it to Josh, the kind of a tool that I'm hoping they'll use going forward to track an inventory of the major roads for paving and the major culverts for replacement, like not the small ones that we do in the operating budget for a couple grand a piece, but the big ones that are gonna, like the common road that, you know, if we sub it out, it's gonna cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. If we do it ourselves, it'll be 40 or 50, including the rental of a excavator or a backhoe, I think they want, right? Work in progress. I'd be hopeful that next week, if it makes sense, we could do a similar walkthrough of a draft SIP plan and kind of see big picture where we're at. We had just as a reminder, we had the benefit last year of applying some of the undesignated fund balances, the budget surplus, against some of the reserve accounts, and that kind of lowered the reserve contributions from last year's budget. So that's a TBD for this current year of this coming year of 2027.
I can't imagine there's gonna be as great an opportunity as there was last year to do that, but.
Agreed. Yeah.
Steve didn't give any idea of where we're at.
He said he would, and we need to sit down with Sandy. Sandy has always been very hesitant to make predictions.
Steve probably won't be.
I know he won't. But Sandy, you know, when you read between the lines, her predictions were always accurate.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
She's one of a kind.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to the fire?
Are you guys set?
Really quickly before you move on, I just wanted to point out that, and I can forward this, that for the painting of road shoulders, there may be a grant opportunity, if not this year, potentially in the future. We just got sent something from Local Motion.
Oh, nice.
So I'm pretty sure you responded to that, York, but I was just looking at the fine print, and so there may, and that's one with no match,
That's right.
no local match. So, and it's between $5,000 and $50,000 from VTrans. So,
Yeah, and
Cool.
For painting, for line?
it's for multiple things. It's
Mhm.
traffic, it's pedestrian safety, traffic calming, bicycle
Yeah.
safety.
which I think
If we got a grant, we could do.
could play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
So
Cool.
I will forward this to folks.
Yeah, it actually looks.
Sorry.
No, thanks for bringing that up.
No, this looks like a pretty, so far, a pretty tight cost of living increase budget.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of salaries, I did have a pretty good conversation with Josh about salaries today, and when we're ready to talk about that, then that's ready. I'm
Yep.
ready for that conversation. Can you see, did it just change the fire department, Marissa, or no?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
I see road department
Okay.
right now.
All right, I just need to, sorry. Okay. Let's do this.
Okay. Yep. Fire department.
You haven't gotten the,
Oh,
You gotta highlight it first.
okay. Okay, there we go. Let's zoom this out a little bit. Sorry. I have not had a chance to go over this with the chief again. I think this is a good starting place.
have you been in touch with Madison and Facein?
I've been messaging and have not received.
Because they're waiting for this. They had their budget done.
You're waiting for this right here?
Yeah, their budget, they were wrapping up in early December.
Right, yeah.
But they need to know what the budget is for their match.
Oh, okay.
So we should probably,
Feel good about this?
no, we should probably wrap it up as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that too. All of these are just,
Where's that insurance information from? Is that passive?
I don't remember how I decided that.
Okay.
That may have been like a linear trajectory that I did based on other years.
Yeah, that's what we
It's
did, that's what we did in the
Your-
past.
What's the bottom row of this?
Bottom row, like very
Is there a
bottom.
summary?
Yeah, there wasn't in the.
There wasn't any
in the
of
packet.
it.
Okay.
Just let me know if anything stands out.
So the, I don't think, where did you get the Capital West contribution?
I honestly don't remember, but it was informed from something. And
it was
I think I
at our
talked to,
meeting that they didn't have a specific number, but they said they thought it
That's
was
right.
gonna go up because whatever grant they were hoping to get for the initial plan, they didn't get. And they estimated that that was gonna
That's
cause
right.
an
What
increase.
is Capital West?
Capital West
Dispatch.
is for their communications system.
Dispatch.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was a conversation with Steve. That's right, that was that. Radios and radio repairs, I didn't feel comfortable unless you remember what we talked about, but I didn't feel comfortable filling that in. Bum, bum.
He,
That was just based on,
well, if the heaters don't work, they'll put it in
It'll be free real quick. I guess that's oil also,
One way to do it.
because the oil tank is inside the building. I did meet with, side note, I reached out to the fire marshal once, Stan, and he ended up emailing back, and I did meet at the fire station with Stan maybe 2 weeks ago, and we walked around the fire station quite a while actually, and he is going to create a report. But really, he had pretty great things to say. There were pretty small things that he was concerned about that I think we can respond to within the next couple of years pretty easily.
So we're definitely getting a report from the fire marshal.
That's what he said.
I
I
find
mean,
that,
if we don't, I know what needs, I'm aware of the things that need
yeah,
attention.
I think that report's very important.
So the building repair and supplies, I think we know from when we were all there meeting with them, and then when we met, York and I met specifically on the budget, there are a number of things they need to fix, and I think we all expressed support, like, yeah, we shouldn't have a risk of an electrical panel melting down.
I
the
partially didn't
firehouse.
know how to fill this in, if you wanted, if the thought is that we're gonna do it more from the reserves, or if we want to split some of the difference, and so I wanted to have that conversation also with the select board of how we wanna look at
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, I think,
we have, do you remember what the balance in the facilities reserve is? It's like 40 or 50,000?
yeah, if not more. Maybe it's 40 or 50 now, but then it'll get topped up at the end of this year with some additional, maybe,
Yeah.
I can't remember.
We had 12,000 in the budget, we're already at 10.6
Oh,
for the fiscal year, yeah.
I did meet with an electrician to look at the electric panel. He does agree it needs to be done. He said, in his opinion, we wait till summer to do that, so that's something that we should plan.
Why is that?
Just because it's not dire, in his opinion. It needs to be done, but it shouldn't be done today, like, in terms of it being a fire station, emergencies, being prepared, so you just have the doors open when he's doing the work, because that takes basically a day to take the panel down so that they can respond to emergencies if they need to.
Got it.
But he did not give me a cost to that.
So I'm showing an estimate, let's see, that makes sense. Yeah, after transfer at the end of this year, that we'd have somewhere in the 65,000 in that account.
What are we transferring into it?
25. And the payments out, we have 5, and that could change. If it stays at 5, we'd have 65 grand in that account. It's more than 5 less if it's less
We've
than
only got
5.
1,000 left in the budget, so we might dip into it if we have
Well,
anything major.
A proposal there on how to manage, like what should go in the operating budget versus the
Right.
reserve budget would be, if it's a maintenance of existing equipment, it should go here. If it's
Agreed.
replacement, like if we're gonna
Yeah.
replace one of those Modine heaters, that should be a capital expense in the capital budget. If we're gonna replace the boiler or even the whole electrical panel, like that we should do out of the facilities reserve fund, in my view.
And I don't know, like, do you know that if we've almost hit budget already for the year, but there could be some things that normally we would have put towards reserve, but they paid for out of
Right.
this operating budget.
If we talked about this the other night, but I think we'd need to communicate that further with them. If you guys agree on that kind of breakdown of like maintenance stuff, like the, you know, piping from the boiler to the Modine unit is leaking, we need to fix that, like that should go in this operating budget. If it's, we need to replace the whole heating unit because it's shot, that would be in the SIP budget against the capital reserve. So to me, that would be the
I like
distinction of like maintenance versus replacement. you know?
And now that I think, do you think with the relationship going as it's going and it being more communicative and open, that maybe when these big things happen in the past, you can see them here, some of these things probably would have gone to reserve. And maybe now this will be better and I don't know. Just even figuring out the generator cost the last 2 or 3 years was almost impossible. And now hopefully moving forward will be better. So in terms of this right here, Josh, like, do you think we should keep this the same? And well, that's why I didn't fill it in.
Yeah,
It would be interesting if we could get a breakdown of what the 10,000 we've already spent has been. I'll talk to Steve about that, just to know what.
yeah, my guess is York's right, it's kind of a mix, because they
Yeah.
mentioned replacing one of those heaters,
Yeah.
and those are $2 or $3 grand.
We didn't, and that, the reserve didn't pay for that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. But at the same time, that building's not getting any younger. It's gonna-
Now.
And we did, Chach and I, you know, and I think we talked about it here also, but, you know, what do we pay for now? And what do we say, you know, this can wait a few years until we really look into building a new fire station?
Right. But I wouldn't drop that below 10 grand, for example.
Yeah.
Even if we move some stuff out to the reserve account, there's still just, that's an old building and there's gonna be a lot of stuff that needs doing.
And I think like I might adjust some of these before we finalize this, like electricity, I could probably bring down a little bit. I'm happy keeping this 12, but that's up to you guys. Sorry, Josh, the hose and equipment, I don't know how you want to deal with that also. In terms of the hose, if we're gonna say, you know, we should just replace everything that's out of compliance. And if this is the same thing, if this is what we usually are spending, because we've been under budget for this. I don't know what we spent to this year, but if we're gonna use reserve funds to just do it all in 1 year or 2 years.
Curious what the life of a hose is, really.
The ones that are compliance are decades and decades old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's capital.
That could be capital.
That,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I don't know, that's something wasn't sure if the 10,000 is,
Yeah, it felt to me like there's kind of deferred replacements, like we haven't been keeping up with the need, so there is probably a capital element to it now, but if we like replace everything and get compliant, and there is a compliance issue where like the old hoses are not safe and not in compliance, once we get there, then we might be able to carry like the ongoing,
Right.
you know, more modest replacements of, I'm sure these hoses get damaged in the line of duty, that we carry that in the operating budget.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's a kind of a reset catch-up that's needed now.
essentially, the one thing is like they go like this and then they lock, so you can't, you know, you can picture something that locks in place and you can't, they don't do that right now. So that's one of the biggest things they pointed out. So I don't know if you want to keep that at 10,000. And that's partially, again, asking the question of,
Yeah, can we find out what their
that's one of
need
the
is?
questions I have
Yeah.
for
Okay.
Jared, is
Yeah.
what would be reserved and what would this operating expense be?
Yep.
Gear we dropped, honestly, I don't exactly remember why, that we talked about in the meeting, and they felt good about the 11,000. Fire prevention, I haven't filled in, I really want to talk to the chief about that. Physical exams, they haven't spent in quite some time. The chief and the assistant chiefs would really like to repurpose this for community outreach. They said in the past they did community outreach, they go to the schools, they go to other things, and there was some cost to that, to like.
I think that was the fire prevention line, was more like training and outreach, handing out stickers in the schools.
That's kind of what I wondered. I thought so, but
Yeah.
they had said, you know, if you remember, the chief's like, well, we were hoping to, you know,
Yeah, but
repurpose this, but that
I think it was-
sounds similar.
I think it was kind of put it up into that fire prevention line item.
So maybe we
So are they,
zero this out and then just move that to fire prevention, which they just haven't been spending.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't.
so have they not been spending funds for physical exams because they're not getting physical exams, or because it's covered by their insurance? Because if they're not getting physical exams, that's a problem, in my opinion, especially
I wonder the same
given the
question.
incidence of cancer. And like it's physically, yeah. So,
I wonder the same
Hey,
question, and I did not ask it.
Yeah,
yeah, because that, I laud their desire to repurpose for community outreach, but there's also something to be said for the like, put the oxygen mask on yourself before you save the rest of the world. I want to make sure that they're physically okay.
But I almost think that physical exam is like a different, some like mandatory state thing or something. I don't think it's your typical like,
Okay, so it's not medical? Okay.
Yeah, what about it's fire fighting preparedness, physical exam or something?
my limited recall is it's more along those lines than a kind of a general practitioner health exam, which I totally agree. I hope they're all getting.
Maybe we should check.
yeah.
So that's, I mean, I hope to meet with the chief this week. For fire prevention, do you just want to keep it at the 1,000 then? For it also to be not,
Well, they have overspent it this year.
they have overspent it?
Yeah. They're at 1178.
Oh, they didn't spend anything in '25. Assuming my notes are correct. I'm not sure what the overlap is, what they mean by community outreach then, so maybe that's just a question
no,
to ask.
yeah.
I think like for a placeholder, if we zeroed out the physical exams and put, you know, $2,000 or $2,500 in fire prevention, that would meet their request, which I agree with, of doing more outreach on fire safety and prevention. And then they, for example, wanted to buy a new kind of sticker that you put on children's bedrooms in the house, like not something outside of the window that has scary implications in our current society, but something you put in the door, or at the bottom of the door, so a fireman on the stairway can see below the smoke, like there's a kid in that room, that's where I'm going first, kind of thing.
The like reflective
Yeah.
Yeah,
ape, or yeah, that stuff, yeah.
so things like that, super supportive of getting those distributed in the community.
Yeah, and that was their example. It was a really good example.
Yeah, it's a powerful one.
It was powerful. So is there any other,
Yeah, their labor is at,
what is that? Is that on this?
You scrolled past it, go back down.
Lower down.
Oh, thank you.
There it
they're
is,
at, they're
169.
at 53,668 now. And I don't think the number of volunteers has ever been, I mean, it probably has sometime, but it seems like it's bigger than it has been in years.
It does.
So we probably want to bump that up a little bit.
It's interesting, they said
Yes.
they've had fewer calls. Remember, there's like more volunteers, but there's
Yeah.
less call-outs.
And they were really uncomfortable saying a cost. They're like, one big fire could blow the entire
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah, so I'm
Sorry.
not suggesting we lower it, just that may
Yeah.
be a kind of an offsetting
Yeah,
thing, more volunteers, but
but,
that can be highly variable.
yeah, and they do a lot of training, which is
What we
a good
want.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, last
what we
year,
want.
they trained, I think maybe 2 or 3 times more than we had budgeted, and, but it was good. Now, a lot of people caught up that had not been trained. And that was
Oh,
great.
Can you repeat what you said earlier? They submit their time once a year?
Yep.
yes.
So we
Given
pay
our
them
new
in December.
communication, could we encourage more frequent submission? That just seems tough tough for them and tough for us, like to track that all year and then show up with one big number. It would seem like it would be easier for them to do it.
Part of the problem is they are on a calendar system and Facein's on a calendar system. So it would be splitting fiscal years. We could figure it out, I'm sure there's.
I wonder if we could even do two, one on like July 1 and one on, or
But isn't that,
June
like
1.
if we did it quarterly, like we all have the same quarters in a year, even though it's different?
Yeah,
budget.
it's different years.
Yeah.
We should look into that. My bet is, you like that Christmas bonus?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So you're advocating maybe for bumping this?
Yeah,
I see.
54 or something. Which would be consistent with this year. And then it's, as Josh said, it's a crapshoot in a way.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, we had like 4 or 5 structural fires. It really blew it. But again.
The logistical, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It was just, I had a logistical question, and maybe I'm misremembering, but I thought that there was some discussion of our firefighters assisting other towns with various efforts, and I was just wondering how that is funded, if that is time that our town pays for, and that's included in the like less time that they've been spending on calls, or is it just that they're spending less time on Waitsfield calls or Facein calls? And does that make sense?
Yeah, but
It's how it's mutually calculated.
It makes perfect sense. I don't recall any discussion of getting like reimbursed from Warren if we go to a fire in Warren or vice versa. I think they're all kind of volunteer departments and they all support each other and.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just comes out in the wash.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I was just curious.
I don't
Yeah,
know
that's
if
a
it's
good
like,
question.
it is a good question. I don't know if it's like the road crew where like we buy fuel for them if they're helping us, and that could be the case, but, because that ends up being a pretty big expense actually for the road crew. But that's different, that's trucks going back and forth all day for days at a time.
Yeah.
And so that's, I mean.
Well, again, this looks like a, a cost of living, nothing really blowing out of the water.
There's nothing huge.
And
Scroll down a little further to the bottom line is,
Well, it's not completely
fully-
informed.
yeah, but I agree. It looks kind of consistent with
can you
last
make
year.
the 25 actual row a little bigger so we can see the number?
Cool.
You still have a couple of blanks.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's gonna go up. Radio and radio repairs, it's really hard, like, in '25, the actual was 1,409, but we budgeted 10,000. This year.
66 so far
Oh,
this
we are
year.
at 66?
Yeah.
So, the 8,000 might be right, and maybe it's too low, maybe it needs to be more like 10,000. It
Or
partially
may- or
depends
maybe-
on, or we just caught up.
We caught up, yeah.
Yep.
That would be a good question for Jared.
And that's why I haven't filled that in. That's the biggest one, and then, well, we didn't do building repair and supplies. I suspect we'll keep that about 12,000.
Yeah, although, I'll check in with Steve about what we're covering with that and see if any of it was capital.
Yeah, agreed. I'll do that tomorrow.
But, fire and roads are big ticket items. So,
Yeah, what percentage of this year's budget was fire and what percentage was roads?
well, fire was it 200? But,
Fire is just over 200.
yeah, so I guess it's not.
And then road is, I mean,
Roads
like
is-
Josh Rogers likes to remind me constantly, he's the biggest part of the budget. Road is about 670,000.
Yeah.
Cool, thanks.
Okay. So,
I hope that was a little helpful.
that was very helpful. It's looking good. I think we're off to a good start.
Yeah.
Seeing the time, why don't we? So you'll fill in those blanks. We don't need to revisit this next week. maybe you and I can just touch base about it.
If there's
and see where we
anything
are.
huge.
Yeah, if there's anything huge, but we'll try to move on. We'll do the capital budget. And
That'd
we
be
should,
great.
and we should try to get the, you know, the town stuff. The town office,
Yeah, most of that's actually filled in,
yeah.
again, besides salary.
But if we can take a look at
Yeah.
that next week too,
Yeah,
that would be great, town
definitely.
operations and town clerk and select board and all that.
So, okay, I'm penciling that in.
And the Conservation Commission is going to come in next week? They had asked to,
No, Conservation Commission is asked to come in next week, yeah.
about
And
budget.
they said they usually present to the select board,
Yeah.
do a presentation, and they would like to do that again. And Kurt and Bruno said they could do next Monday.
Okay. And I'd like to talk about how we do this invasive stuff and maybe take that out of the capital budget, since it really seems to be a
Recurring.
recurring thing, so.
I did talk.
And that would just be a shift from one line item to another.
Yeah, we can wait and talk about that. I
Yeah.
did mention that to Kurt,
Okay,
you know. They like their money, they have big projects.
yes, I know.
We all do.
We all have projects.
So, want to move on to the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
A second?
Here, Chuck, here's an
A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, I thought you were second.
What is this?
That was just that's the updated budget.
Oh.
Just so you have a hard copy.
Anything extra on the town administrator's report?
I don't know. Bear with me for 1 second. I've done a good bit of work on the bridges, but nothing that we really need to spend time on right now. I'll keep working on the camera.
Okay. What was the first one you said?
The bridges, but mostly the camera for the bridges. I have not been able to get a hold of Miles with Vermont Heavy Timber. I sent him texts, emails, and phone calls. So maybe he's just out of pocket this winter. Maybe he's on a trip, or he may take the winter off some. I've not heard back from him.
Maybe we should have done that bonus.
And yeah, so that's good. It's been busy, but all good. Everything's great in the town.
Happy almost 1 year anniversary.
When was that?
I don't
January.
know.
What?
I mean, I was
Wasn't
here in
January, that was
January.
March.
No, I was here in
Oh, you were
January.
here. That's right,
I
you were
came
here
for an
Friday.
interview.
Yeah,
in January.
in the administrator report.
I did. Thanks
January
for reading.
10th.
They didn't start until March. Is that right?
That's right.
No,
February. He started in February.
Since his magical drive into town.
my magical.
Yeah.
Why? I feel like you're teasing a little bit.
No.
It was a really
That was
lovely
really-
drive.
It was a lovely piece of
I
running.
honestly remember commenting that this is perfect. York's gonna show up, and town's gonna never
I
look better.
remember driving through it. I was like, this is like, when like just after a fresh snowfall
Yeah.
and the pines are covered. It was.
I remember having that same
Sunny,
feeling
crisp, cool.
as a kid driving up here. It's like,
Okay.
oh, this is a better part of Vermont.
Brian's like, I'm done.
The select board roundtable.
Just thanks to Dave for jumping in on a lot of things
Let's go.
on my behalf. And this might be my last meeting. I'm not sure. We'll see.
You could jump onto a meeting just with like, whoop, holding that little thing.
Okay, yeah, we'll see about that.
We are gonna want at least a drive-by at some point, not too long afterwards.
Yeah, a Simba,
Drive by. All right, yeah, we'll see.
Drive
We'll
by
see what I can do.
Out the car window.
No, was that Michael Jackson?
Oh gosh.
Can you remember
Yeah,
what?
that's different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
don't mention it for kids.
There will be none of that.
They held the kid over a railing,
Oh,
and so drive by holding Simba on the driving. That's
Yes, absolutely. Only roundtable is that MRVPD has hired, or gotten an accepted offer from a community planner candidate, and that'll be going public soon, so.
great.
That's awesome. After the next meeting.
Is there a start date? Is that?
No, that's all, that's
no,
why it's.
that's still TBD?
That's why it's,
Gotcha.
but progress made.
Awesome.
Fred, do you have anything? Nothing. Josh?
Nope.
Krista? No? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yahoo.
Bye.